Yo, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? How's it going? TruthSeekah. We're going to do the Truth. I'm excited to be with you guys again here on Facebook Live. Make sure that you guys click share, like, all that good stuff, man. Somebody needs to hear this episode today, and most likely that somebody is you. You're here for a reason. This is not by chance. This is not by mistake. I'm going to be going live with a friend of mine here in a moment. Try to get it figured out how to bring him in. But Curtis Childs of the Swedenborg Foundation and Off the Left Eye is going to go live with me. We did a podcast, man, several months ago. Amazing, mind blowing. It was awesome. Angels, how they operate, levels of ascension, the afterlife, all that good stuff, man. All the stuff in the Bible. Wild, synchronistic stuff. That episode was huge for me. Everything that I was studying, everything I was praying about that God was showing me in the scriptures, that just seems off the left eye, out of left field. Like I heard it articulated in the life of Emanuel Swedenborg and what he brought to the table through Curtis Childs. Amazing. So we're going to go deep today. So let me see how to bring him in. Want to let everybody know how you can support, how you can get tapped in with our small community and small groups that we got going on. Go check out my Patreon. All of my meditations are there. All of my music, Thursday night, School of the Mystics, Sunday morning, prayer, breathwork, devotion, Discord, all that cool stuff. Go check it out. Patreon.com/TruthSeekah. The link is in the description there. So I don't see you yet, brother. See if you can send me a request. I do not see it yet. Let's see. Clear request. And Curtis, if you see this and you can't join through the Swedenborg page, just, I guess, try to join through your regular page. But it's supposed to let me add you in here. Angela says, I need help. We'll get the questions and all that cool stuff and here in just a moment. But I don't see Curtis Childs or Swedenborg yet. So let's see. See if you can comment, Curtis, because if you can comment, then I can actually invite you that way, which is probably going to be the easiest way. If you comment, it'll let me invite you. But we're going to get it in. Thank you, Angela, for the stars. You guys are stars, literally. Literally made of stardust, star stuff. Click join or send me a comment, Curtis. That's probably going to be the easiest way because I don't see it now. Reading all of your questions and comments already. We're going to have a good session today, guys. What's up? Samantha, Swedenborg Foundation. He says, I'm here. Let's see. I see you said, I'm here. Now, how do I invite you? See if there's a request to join. I don't know about it being on, you know, with all the testing that we did, you may have to do it on mobile. It may have to be on the phone. I bet you that's what it is. I bet you that's what it is. Let's see. Yeah, I think you have to be on the phone. Try to jump on the phone and pull my page up and comment again. Sorry about the technical difficulties, guys, but it's going to be good. Make sure you guys buckle up. Got a serious question. Kevin, what up, man? What's your question, brother? I'll answer a couple questions while we try to get this worked out. Good day to you. Gaynell knows. Kevin Davis, got a serious question. Jeremy says, sending love. Blessed, Steve says. Too blessed to be stressed. Where can you find my meditations at? They're on my website, TruthSeekah.com. You can get them there. The throne room, which is one of the best ones, is free. You can get that for free. And then all the other ones are available there as well. But there's 3 of them that are like the works, like audio and sound effects, and takes you on a journey. And I hired voice actors to come in and, okay, there it is. It says wave, bring them on camera. Boom, he got it. So it says this, I'm adding him now. So yeah, go check out the meditations there. They've been powerful. We've been revisiting them on Sunday mornings. And I can't listen to them without just crying, weeping, and being in tears. So good. Kevin Davis says, I got a serious question. The creator that was before Christianity that they worship is the same God today as the creator. Did not change. So are we worshiping the same God? God is one. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is one. There's only one God, one supreme. Now there's many manifestations or emanations of that, just as we are. We're an emanation. You wouldn't worship me, you wouldn't worship yourself. Well, some people do, literally both those, right? Some people worship me, some people worship themselves. Some people worship money. But God is one. Hear, O Israel, the Lord is one. There is one supreme, ultimate being that created everything. And out of that comes so much more, comes everything else that exists, which comes through Christ. So, but Jesus was coming to set the record straight about what God that they were following, because there were many lesser gods, many Elohim that were worshipped, that were governors, that were worshiping, or they were over different stars and planets and borders, principalities. The Bible says rulers, wickedness in high places. Another word it uses is thrones. Thrones is one of those words. Okay, I see. I'm going to try to add you again, brother. It says adding, but I guess it's not going through. Trying it again. So yeah, there's many under the one. Everything is an emanation. Everything is polarity. You got to have, there's hierarchy, and I know Swedenborg talks about that as divine providence, I believe is what he calls it. It's a great word for it, and we'll be talking more about that when we get Curtis in here. It says adding, but I guess it's not going through on his end. Almost there, half June, we won. Do you read the Bible? Do you have to read the Bible to go to heaven? No, that's silly. But if you want to learn about heaven, if you want to experience heaven on earth, experience it here, be in bliss and be in heaven, for sure the Bible can totally help, because it's inspired by heaven. It's those words are God-breathed. They're inspired. They are eternal. They are spirit. So, but if it's not about reading it to go to heaven when you die, I say it's about reading it to go to heaven while you're here, to be able to tap into heaven while you're on earth as it is in heaven. You're an expression. You're a portal. I'm so close. I can see you, but it doesn't seem like I'm adding when you click. I keep doing it. I'm doing it again, Curtis. Amber Heard, what's up, my friend? Sorry on your case that you lost with Johnny and all that. I'm joking. That's not her, my friend. my views on the Gnostic Gospels. I mean, there's some truth sprinkled throughout all of them. Are they divinely inspired, all of them? No, not by any means. I think that a lot of them are created to throw people off. So there's that. You know, there's some good stuff in there for sure. There's some good proverbs. There's a lot of good stuff. But do I hold that over the canon? Not by any means. Not by any means. No. Now, we were talking about the Apocrypha and the books that were taken out of the Bible. Those books, or other books that were written by some of the early apostles, Barnabas and Peter and those guys. And there's a lot of books these people wrote, man. That's all they did was write. Stargaze and write. Why did they slaughter the scholars that translated the book? You want to try it from another account, Curtis? Just use it as yourself and try it again. It could be something about the pages tapping in. I don't know. I'm sitting here trying to add you though every time I see you. And make sure you see requested too. Just try it both ways. Swedenborg Foundation, add. We're trying. We are trying. Sure thing. I'll come back on as Curtis. Great. We're going to make it happen. All right. More questions. What you got? What you got? So I hope that helped. I mean, there's a lot of cool books for sure. There's a lot of cool books. Some of my favorite, if you haven't seen my video on it, make sure you watch my video I did on the books that were mentioned in the Bible, but were taken out. So there's a bunch of books that are actually mentioned, and those are the ones that you would probably like want to first go to, versus a book on the side. Like when I say mentioned, they're quoted, like the apostles and prophets and Jude, and so many people are quoting books, and they're quoting it with like not really chapter and verse, but book. They say, as it is written in the book of Edu the prophet, as it is written in the book of Shemaiah the seer. It's like, who are those people? Who is Shemaiah? And there's a lot that that we don't have. So it doesn't. We get a piece of the puzzle. Everything is a piece of the puzzle. Even when you get those books back, you still got a piece of the puzzle. Everything is a piece, and it's your ability. It is really your consciousness that allows you to make the pieces of that puzzle fit. And do they fit cohesively? Do you have to force it together? That's time, that's study, that's reading. Like the Bible, from Genesis to Revelation, it's enough. Just that by itself, come on. You could take one book and it'd be enough. There's so much wisdom. There's so much beauty in that. Each and every chapter, each and every verse. And that's what makes you a mystic. Like when you're tapped in through contemplation over the minute, you see beauty in the places that people just scroll past. And that's the hidden thing. That's how God reveals himself. That's how he revealed himself to all of his disciples. Literally, you find beauty in the things that others just move past. The now moment. Oh, there's beauty in the now moment. The breath, your heartbeat. You just find things to be grateful for. You find all of these things become a portal that open up to something larger. And when I say something larger, God, consciousness, love, those beautiful attributes. What do you think about Mary Magdalene? This is from Amber. What do you think about Mary Magdalene and her writings? Do you think that religion has suppressed women? Religion has suppressed women for sure. For sure. But I'm not sure if her books are legit though. Those, the books that are attributed to her. But has religion suppressed women? For sure. In order to have a God and most of you gonna, not most of you, some of you are gonna turn off. In order to have a God, you got to have a goddess. In order to have a God, you got to have a goddess. In order to have a father and a son, you got to have a mother. It is from the womb of the mother that all creation comes from. You have to come from and through a mother. So Christianity, for the most part, has taken the motherly, feminine aspect out. Catholicism is held on to it a good bit, venerating their female saints. You know, we talked about Saint Teresa of Avila. We talked about her and so many more women of God who went on to do amazing feats, amazing feats. So, you know, there's amazing mystical women of God who God has hidden a piece of himself in the woman. And if you don't have that, then you don't have the whole piece of the puzzle. I think it's only when, you know, any of these things kind of go far right or far left. The truth is in the middle. It always has been and always will be. It's the narrow path. You have the path on the right and on the left, which is wide and filled with destruction. I don't know about the right. Maybe just the path on the left. But the narrow path is the path of balance in between. It is the highway of holiness. And we bounce back and forth on that. Everybody. It's just what we do. It's just like the double helix of the DNA that goes back and forth, back and forth. We're doing that, and hopefully we're spiraling up. Jacob's ladder looks like your DNA. Jacob's ladder is not a ladder that people are climbing. Jacob's ladder is a spiral. There's levels on that spiral. All of the ancient art shows that. I believe Swedenborg's work shows that. I think we talked about that last time. But the spiral goes up, and the spiral also comes down. And how you get up and how you get down is through a decision. If you're in the middle, and there's in Egypt, they really hold sacred the symbol of the Y, just a Y, right? A letter Y, because it represents a fork in the road. Which way are you going to go? You're going to go right or you're going to go left? What decision are you going to make? And then it's a real-time RPG. It's an eternal RPG that you got all of these decisions. And the notes I have in front of me right now is the scripture about the valley of decision. The scripture says that there was it's Joel 3:14, multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near, in the valley of a decision. I felt that. I hope you did too. The day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision, in the valley of a decision, of a choice, of free will. Attention. The greatest, the only worship, the only adoration is that focus, is that attention that you give to God, to your spouse, to your children. That's your love. What kind of attention do you show it? How much attention? If you have 24 hours in a day, how many hours does it get versus the other things in your life? Play video games and get lost in those worlds for hours. Can you meditate? Can you pray and get lost in those worlds for hours? It's possible. And just as fun, and just as you get currency and win things and new weapons and all kind of stuff like in a video game, same thing about your devotion, your decisions, your prayer life. Same thing's happening. There's levels. The spiral, Jacob's ladder, are levels. These levels are beautiful. We talked about this in the book of Revelation, chapter 21, where it talks about, and 21 and I believe 14, but it talks about the New Jerusalem and the levels that are in Jerusalem. Another word for level is dimension. The dimensions that are in Jerusalem, the New Jerusalem anyway, which is us, which is this city that we are on a hill. Still waiting for Curtis to get logged into his account to join. But yeah, energy up and down your spine, Helen says. Correct, correct. I mean, it's applicable on every level of existence, and that's the beautiful thing. You know, I project this on people just because I know this is how I felt at the time, and I still project it. Maybe it's a bad projection because I know how scary it was, and I know how scary it is to think it's one way, and it's another way, right? So we're talking about these levels of spiritual conscious energy that goes up and down. It's in the spirit world for sure. It's a dimension that you have access to for sure. It's all of that. But it's also in your anatomy. It's in your body. It is literally there's the spiritual coiled energy that's going up and down your spine. It's oil. It's the oil of chrism, chasm, secretion. Literally, that is at the base of the temple that goes up, and it's up to you to allow that energy, that love, that compassion to grow more and more and more, and so that your whole body is full of light. Your whole body is full of light. Your mind is renewed. Your finances are every single part of your body. So for that to be true, there was just a moment in time years ago where that would scare me, because you have people who will come out and teach that and say that that's the only truth. Well, all of those scriptures, all of the Bible, all of that stuff was an analogy for your anatomy. People who teach that, Bill Donahue, many people, and they're gifted. They have a beautiful eye to see that realm, and it's true. It is true. But they fall into error when they say that it's only that. The Bible is only this. The Bible is only that. The beautiful thing about the Bible in the scriptures is that it's all of that and more. That's the beautiful thing about it. That you can look at it as a literal story, that you can look at it as allegory, that you can look at it as your anatomy, that you can look at it in terms of astrology or astrotheology, that's playing in every realm that exists. It's amazing. It's amazing that atom is synonymous with atom. It's amazing that atom and a particle or an atom, and then you have a tomb in Egypt. It's amazing. It doesn't take away from the beauty of this, and for me it used to, because I was so gung-ho on it has to be this way, and we are the originators, and we made this up, and we came up with this. So when I would hear these other theories and these other things that seemed like they had some truth to it, and maybe I would follow it out a little bit, but it would move me from the simplicity. There he is, right there.
I'm here.
Made it happen. You had to get the cell phone, or what?
Yeah, I mean, I got it on the cell phone. It wasn't working. You don't need to hear the whole story, but I'm here. Can you see me okay?
I could see you and hear you. I'm going to try to hook my Bluetooth up. But, man, for people who don't know who you are, just go ahead and start off.
Hey, you froze. Am I frozen?
Okay.
Hey, I'm back.
Great. That was my fault. But yeah, for people who don't know who Curtis Childs is, introduce yourself, and then we'll you speak on behalf of the Swedenborg Foundation and Off the Left Eye. So let's talk about it, man.
Yeah. So I am Curtis Childs. I'm the vice president of programming at the Swedenborg Foundation. And Swedenborg Foundation is a not-for-profit. It's 170 years old, and it has primarily been to translate and publish the works of the Christian mystic and theologian Emanuel Swedenborg, who is, in my opinion, the most detailed account of the spiritual side of life that exists anywhere. So you've got this guy who was a incredibly accomplished scientist and inventor, and he began having spiritual experiences, met Jesus Christ, and wrote for 30 years about his experiences in heaven, in hell, and everywhere in between, and is very clear yet complex prose. So I think it's the best resource that nobody's ever heard of for learning everything about Christianity from the inside out.
The talk that we had, like I said, we did a talk a couple months ago. Time is weird for me, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
We did a talk. It was a God thing. Like it was God. It was whatever God is. It was that kind of set that up and answered so many questions for me. You know, I hate, you know what I'm saying? I felt like I kind of made it about me. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, you were talking about Swedenborg, and I'm like, oh yeah, me. And so I kind of felt bad because we're trying to like promote Swedenborg and what he's doing, but what Swedenborg obviously represents is something much larger than himself that is still at work today.
Yeah.
Like his work is alive. Like Jesus said, my words are life. Like the spirit, you can't kill spirit. You can't kill ideas. You can kill people as far as flesh is concerned. But Swedenborg, you know, bro, it was profound for me. It was so much that I was already coming to on some wild manic study, like I told you. And then we talked, and then it was like I got to talk to, you know, to God, because he's speaking through you. But man, it filled in so many gaps, and it's continuing. Our conversation is still, there's things that are being unraveled, like from that. You know what I'm saying? Like
That's
concepts that are like, let me roll this out there because this sounds crazy. And you're like, yeah, Swedenborg wrote about that extensively. Like, golly.
Yeah. Well, because
We're all in touch, right, with something greater, and he was in touch as well, and he embodied it.
There's fundamental truths about how things are, and we sense that on a deep level. There's just an awareness of the existence of God, of the nature of God, and of some of the primary truths about God and reality that we know. We have this intuitive sense of, and we have a longing to meet up with the explanation that fits that longing. So I found that this is what it was for me in reading Swedenborg's writings. Is he's just a guy. He wrote his byline for the last book that he published was just servant of the Lord Jesus Christ. Swedenborg's a guy. He's not a particularly great person. I mean, he I think went through a powerful process of repentance and reformation like we all do, but early in life he was egocentric like we all are when we're young, and he said that, you know, he encountered Jesus, and doing that he was meant to be a conduit to teach about stuff that happens in all of us. When we last talked, I didn't think you were talking about yourself too much, because that's the whole point, is that these ideas are supposed to transform us, and it's like that's how the Lord comes to each of us, is through the transformation of our minds and hearts by the word, which is, so you can find it in Swedenborg, you can find it a lot of places. But I really think clearly in a lot of the ideas Swedenborg expresses, you can say, oh yeah, that you're sort of seeing the face of Jesus in that.
Yeah. And you know, Jesus says, my sheep hear my voice, you know what I'm saying? And a stranger's voice they will not follow. And you get familiar with hearing his voice. And I just mentioned a while ago, like back in the day as an early baby Christian, I would say like anything that was a threat, but it had truth to it. That's why it was a threat. Because if it was like a blatant lie, you're just dealing with a blatant lie, and it's, hey, I don't have to wrestle with it in my mind. But when there's a little bit of truth to it, then you're like, oh man, is this real? Is this You know, does God love everybody and me, or did I do something to earn his love? Whatever it is that goes on in your mind that you fight with, um, we wrestle with all of those ideas, and just to know that um, God is speaking today through so many people, as you can recognize his voice. That's the thing you got to be clear on. It's like we judge the messenger. Well, you know, he had a
Yeah.
shady past. You know, Swedenborg was this. You know that, or whoever that you're listening to, or books that you're trying to read. I'm really big into Manly P. Hall, and his quotes are amazing. He brought so much beauty to the table, but there's so many people who are quick to discredit these beautiful verses, these things that he wrote that are God breathed because of the name. But you got to be able to see Christ in all things, and even in the work of Swedenborg. We hear a familiar voice.
Test the spirits. Jesus says, test the spirits, or Paul, and the way you test them is you see, do they make everything about love of God and love of the neighbor, as Jesus said the law and the prophets hang on. So that's the best way to find it, because there's been any number of people will say, oh, I've got a new truth for Christianity, and the way to test is to see, is this expressing the spirit that Jesus expressed.
Hmm. Because the other spirit um, is the accuser, the adversary that is always attacking, that is always calling you outside of your name, outside of your character, outside of your destiny, and even to get familiar with that voice. Once you wrestle with that voice a couple times, you get familiar with it too, so that you can identify it. Um, Peter, uh, Satan, that energy, that negative force that wants to undo you. It has a purpose, right? It has to try you, has to test you, but to recognize it, oh, this is a test. This is a test.
Yeah, well, you think about all the kinds of physical tests that you go through. You get sick, for example. That is building up your immune system. And you encounter some kind of financial challenge or something, that's what turns you into an adult, is because you have to navigate those things. So it can be with everything spiritual that attacks us. It can be an opportunity to cement the truths of faith in your mind. Because if it's all theoretical, the idea that, for example, you need God, you need Jesus to live and exist, that can sound like it's an idea, but until you experience the depths of despair and having to reach out for that, until you experience your own powerlessness against hell, it's just theoretical anyway. So any of those spiritual tests are actually the most important periods of spiritual growth that we go through, because that's when it becomes real, and that's when we have to abandon some of our self-centered old man life that Jesus is calling us to be born again out of. Because if everything's working well for you and your ego, there's not really much incentive to change. Like, no, I got a good thing going on. Yeah, that's right. I break these commandments. I don't treat these people well. I don't take the religion too seriously. But when there's disruption, then you've really got to figure out what can stay and what has to go. And that's when you're open to being led.
Yeah. Um, you know, we I know I'm trying to see what we talked about, because we talked about so much. It's like all my notes that I had, I was just we covered so much, but so much is it was a seed that was planted. It was confirmation, which is what synchronicity is how God operates, is how the angels operate, with repetitive numbers that you start seeing things over and over. You hear the phrases over and over. I heard a Swedenborg quote in a movie, and then I get the email about Swedenborg. That's how this stuff works, right? And
Yeah.
one thing was cool. Uh, After our interview, I saw that we had so many people in the audience who subscribed to both channels, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I love Curtis." Like all my subscribers, like, "Yeah, we love Curtis, man. He's cool. Great to see him on." I'm like, "Man, I'm brand new to Curtis and Swedenborg," so I thought that was cool.
Yeah, well, people are smart, and they're looking for the truth, and now they got the whole world at their fingertips with the web. So they will find, if there's a common spirit running through things, they'll find that and bring them together.
Like I said, you know, I think on the last talk we did, we didn't really have a subject. I know I wanted to talk about angels and hell and all that, and I kind of named this titles very similar, but we didn't know what we were going to talk about, but we could just talk and see where it goes.
Yeah.
What are you into right now? Like, what are you studying? What's working for you? Where are you at spiritually? Let's talk about that.
Right this minute, I'm learning about faith and what that actually means. And there's sort of been this historical belief that to have faith is to believe in something that you don't understand. This doesn't make any sense. Well, I got to believe it because it's faith.
Blind faith, right?
That's not what faith is. Faith is actually the longing for the truth and then the recognition of it when you hear it. So like you were saying before, when we had our interview, you could pick, even though you hadn't heard of me, hadn't heard of Swedenborg before, you could pick out concepts and say, oh, that, you know what? I can feel that that's the truth. That resonates for me. That's what faith is. So there's this initial impulse, which is to do good to the human race, to love the neighbor. That's what's coming out of God all the time. If we accept that into us, the good of love wants to know how to do the things of love. So there's this outpouring of desire for the truth to go with it. So real faith is knowing you want to live the good life. You want to live the life that God is asking you to do. And then this hunger to, how do I do that? And then once you hear the gospel or other truths of faith, you recognize that's it, and you put it into your life. That is fundamentally what faith is. It's this, I get it and I believe it. It's not somebody told me that this is how it is. It doesn't really sit with me, but that person is part of an organized religious body, so I've got to do it. That's not faith. That's just obedience, and it's never going to really be alive in you.
Yeah, that's deep, because you know, because we always say, I think we say this of like, it's just a natural progression. I've heard many people say it, but your faith, like you had faith in Jesus Christ, as far as like the old definition, blind faith. I can't see him, you know, but maybe he's there. I'm going to trust that he is, kind of thing. So there's that. Most of us kind of start somewhere in that, you know, and we're Christian, the idea of what faith is, believing in the unseen and the impossible. But again, like you said, like eventually that faith or that belief, I don't believe in Jesus anymore. I don't believe in God. I know them. That faith is transformed into a divine inner knowing, and you can't talk me out of it. Now we can debate about what it is and all this kind of stuff, but hey, I know it to my core. And because of my experiences and because of my consciousness and what I've been through, just like everybody else, you're not in blind faith anymore. So obviously, not obviously, I hate to even say that, there's different words for faith in the Greek and in the Hebrew, right? And that's kind of what you're alluding to a little bit, that we think that like Hebrews 11 talks about like faith is, belief in the things that we can't see, right? But it's the evidence of the things we can. You got to go to the definition, but this faith is like, I have faith, I'm gonna make it tomorrow, or know it. That faith turns into a knowing, but that's not your profession. Like your profession of faith, biblically, is not that we don't know. That's not it. The faith turns into a declaration of, this is what I believe. What is your faith statement? Who are you? That's your faith. Our faith is sealed in the person of Jesus Christ and what he represented. All of it. That's faith. It's not a divine unknowing, but it's a divine knowing of, this is who I am. This is who I am in Christ. This is who I am outside of Christ. All of that's a part of my faith. And we can keep going. So that, you know, the different words that are used there, but in English, we just see faith, you know, but it means like, it even means opposite stuff. That's the weird thing, where you got to like break these scriptures down and meditate on them a little bit more. But I think people need to know that.
faith ends up having to, it has to be the thing by which you act out what the Lord commands. So your faith, the surety, the declaration of who you are, all of that serves to be the bedrock, or the assurance that you have that you can use to go and live that life. Because if you say, I believe in God, and I believe that love of God and love of the neighbor are the things that all the commandments hang on, but you just go out and you cut in line and you're mean to people, there's not, you don't really believe it. You believe what you act on. You can say, I can say
Yeah.
that I believe that I can drive with my eyes closed, but if I'm really opening my eyes when I drive, I don't really believe it, right? So the faith has to be in its proper place, which is that it is the means by which we live the life of love that Jesus Christ commands us to live. That's when it really is in its home.
You think that like we kind of marry that word? Maybe a better word would be like not a better word, but the word religion. Like, hey, what religion are you? And when we obviously when we say when I say Christian and you say Christian and everybody watching says Christian, we really mean different things because of what that faith. We don't like the faith is like you just said. That was your profession, but it has nothing to do with your profession. Your profession is what you do. Like the profession of what I believe is that I love people. Not that I say it, but you're gonna see me loving people. You're gonna see me doing these good deeds. I'm not gonna tell everybody. I'm not gonna talk about it. I'm gonna do them. Like that's who and what you are. That's your religious. It's not even a religious, because religion kind of gets into a duty. Your faith is who you are. It is your foundation, which is Christ, right?
Yeah. Whenever there's some scandal and a Christian mega church pastor, it turns out that he said to be a Christian and go do all these things, but it turns out that he was, sleeping around, stealing money, whatever it is.
Yeah.
We always say, oh, well, turns out he wasn't really a Christian anyway. We don't care that you said you were a Christian. If it turns out secretly you're living the opposite, it's always what you do that people pick up, that's who you really are and what you're really doing. Religion is a matter of life. We tend to think about religion as a matter of what organization you say you belong to. That's important, but it's really the foundation of it is your life. So if you're living that life, and the life that you're living is, sure, it's wrapped up in the ideas that you have, but it's really about the love you do or don't have for other people. So yes, people can have all kinds of different ideas in their mind when they say that they're a Christian. And there'd be some people who would say, I'm a Christian, that I would be nervous to be around. And there's other people that say, I'm a Christian, that I'm really loving being around. But if you're motivated by, what's that saying? They'll know we're Christians by our love. If you're motivated by love of God and love of the neighbor, then you say you're a Christian. And even if you believe some different things about me, we share a church because we're motivated by that same love. Like the kingdom of heaven is within you. And if you are, as the basis of your life, saying I'm following Jesus because I believe Jesus is truly the embodiment of God's love, and that I'm going to follow what he said, that it's love of God and love of the neighbor, then we're bros. We are in the same religion, even if we differ on some of the theological details, because it's your life that really makes you what you are.
Yeah, I think there's levels too that we begin to see past those details. The devil is in the details. Like, it's like, what I'm saying, almost like splitting hairs, unless they're a big deal for you and they go against your faith. Like if they go against your faith, then you should deal with it. So let's tie this in with testing or trying, because these words are connected. The testing of your faith, the trying of your faith. Let's see if you really believe this stuff. And these concepts are the entirety of the scriptures. The testing and trying of your faith. Retake the test. You didn't get it. You didn't get it.
Yeah.
You repeated it, but it wasn't in you. You repeated it in blind faith. It didn't work. You didn't know it. Go through this season. Now we're going to test you again. He knows it. He's got it. All the angels rejoice, right? So we're being, our faith is being tested and being tried so that we can level up, so that we can ascend, so that we can carry more love, carry more forgiveness, and bring more people with us, right? With that, James says that I'm not going to show you my faith by my my speech, right? But I'm going to show you what I believe by what I do, because that's the
Right.
only way that we know what you believe. We don't know what you believe because you're on mega pastor telling it, preaching the word of God, because you're charismatic and you can know how to win a crowd. That has nothing to do with your faith. Your faith is when you follow on those hard times. Your faith is tested and tried, and then we see what you really believe. And we're in that daily, like David and all of the prophets and apostles. They're begging God, Father, search my heart, God. Try my faith, Lord. Try me. See if there be any wicked way in me. Let's do it. Let's go. That should be our prayer. It's a scary prayer, but it is the prayer of a Christian. It's the prayer of
Yeah.
King David and all of the patriarchs. How you respond under that pressure in those circumstances and situations prove who you're devoted to. And I wrote this down a while ago, just in that Satan comes to tempt before a test or a lesson or an upgrade, right? When you're about to get an upgrade in the spirit, you're tested, and it is the adversary who's that teacher who comes to try you and test you, tempt you. He met Jesus before Jesus started his ministry. He came to him in the wilderness to try to talk him out of it. He tried to talk him out of the cross through Peter. Right before these moments of these big upgrades, the devil, Satan, that character that comes in, but it's to try you, to test you. But Jesus stayed true to his faith, to his profession. He knew why he was here, and he wouldn't let anything talk him out of it. Judas, on the other hand, when he was tried and Satan, the evil one, came to him, we were able to see what was really inside of Judas, because he acted on what was inside of him. That's the only thing that he could do. When that pressure came to take the money and run, he did it. And it's the same, that this is what the testing and the trying and the perfecting of your faith, right?
Absolutely. I saw in the comments somebody said talk about Swedenborg's take on hell, and I think this is a good spot to bring it in, because why go through these tests? Because we're trying to kick hell out of us. That what stands between us and the heaven that God wants to bring us into is hell. So with Swedenborg's takes on heaven and hell, everything in the spiritual world, so the spiritual world would be the afterlife. This is where heaven and hell are. Everything there is spiritual. So the spiritual part of us is the part that thinks and feels. We are not conscious because of our bodies. We're conscious because we have a spirit that's hooked up to our bodies. So the fundamental essence of heaven is that heaven is to enjoy doing what is good to someone else. And the fundamental essence of hell is to enjoy doing what is harmful to someone else. So Jesus was an embodiment of doing good to others, because that is what God's will is. Jesus came, what was he doing? He was healing everybody and teaching them the truth that was going to serve them. So hell is the opposite of that. So if it's heaven to look to bless other people and make them happy, hell is to dominate, use, exploit, do anything that damages someone else for your own gain or pleasure. So spiritually, when we follow one or the other of those paths, that makes us who we are. And in the life after death, because everything is spiritual there, if you have made your life a love of what's good and true, you move toward everything that's good and true, which includes God, because God is the source of everything good and true. If you made your life a love of what's evil and false, you move away from what's good and true, because that's the opposite. And that's what Swedenborg calls hell. Hell is is not a spot that is like a prison that God throws you in. This is somewhere where your own heart takes you if you love what is contrary to God. So every time we go through these spiritual challenges, the hope that we can have and the excitement we can have is that we learn a little bit more of how to free ourselves from hell and bring ourselves into heaven. That's the work that God is doing in us throughout our life.
So good. So good. I'll get some of these. Let us know if anybody has any comments here for Curtis or myself, and we'll try to weave them in. But yeah, this is what all of it's about, man. The faith, the levels, the purification, you know, of what you really believe in, you know, hard times and good times, both. Everything is a choice. Even that word decision that I was talking about, like decision is how you choose.
Yeah.
Right or wrong, yes or no, left or right. What do you do? Lie, cheat, steal. The money's here. You can lie a little bit. You can get away with this on taxes. You can whatever. Everything is a choice, and those choices is what tries and improves your faith, especially the choices over and over and over again. Then you end up in a situation, in a life that is whatever, right? Like whatever's in your life, you planted that seed. You watered. You didn't just plant the seed. You probably watered it. You tilled the ground. You made sure that it got sunlight. So dealing with all of that, the decision, that word is pretty deep in the Hebrew, because there's so many more words. One of the words is like decision, but it's also the threshing floor. It's also the word for gold. Like your decision is gold, golden. How you get gold added to you. That's a very strange same word to be used in different ways in the English for decisions, meaning gold, and gold being what is paved in the streets of heaven, there and here. These decisions that we make, let your next move be your best move. That determines who you are, what you do, and the type of life that you live. It's so important.
Yeah, that's very well said.
Let's see. What is the purpose of fire? Is to purify. Gerald says. Talk about fire, man, because fire
Everything,
is on the gold, right?
yeah. So everything in the physical world is a picture of something spiritual. So there's nothing that exists around your eye that doesn't respond in some way or represent or symbolize something spiritual. Like the world around us is an expression of God's word. So everything that we encounter has what Swedenborg calls a correspondence, or this is telling us something about spiritual reality. And this is also why, for example, fire is used in the Bible in the way it is. So when you're talking about, for example, so fire corresponds to love, and it can be a positive love or a negative love. Just like in the life we interact with every day. Is fire good or bad? Well, it can be both. It can be, it's what allowed human civilization to emerge. It can be beautiful and it can be warming. It can cook your food for you. It can burn your house down too. So it all depends on where it can, the United States has been dealing with all kinds of forest fires this year. It depends where it is and what kind of fire it is. So fire is different, passion for something, and in the right place, it's like the passion for what's good and true, and that fire of love, you can say, like, I burn for someone. The fire of love to help people, love to make things better, the fire to pursue God and do what's right. That's the good sense of fire. The negative sense is if you let some kind of passion for what is not good just go in you, and you're not setting it in some space where it's not going to spread, it can consume you. So you can have people, Swedenborg says that hell fire the term hellfire is the kinds of hatred and rage and disdain that burn inside you when you make hell, which is the enjoyment of hurting other people, central to your life. So that hellfire is what destroys, burns out your soul. So fire can be this amazing, creative, positive force, or it can be this destructive force. It's about us controlling it and choosing the right fires to stoke and choosing some fires to put out.
That's good. Fire, yeah. Everything is a tool. Fire is a tool. It can be used for good or bad, like you say. And I guess you did you see that? Are you reading the comments? Did you see that?
I just see them like they just come up like one at a time, so I can only see a few.
Yeah.
But was there something for
Amber.
me there?
Well, yeah. Well, that's what she was asking about. Amber was asking about hell possibly being a place of purification, right? That's what fire is. Fire does. Listen, the Bible says that God is a consuming and all-consuming fire. That God literally is fire, light beings, lightning, electricity. All of that's from the same source. That fire of God that is in. As David said, where can I go to escape you? If I go to hell, listen, there you are. There, your flames are comfort. Your flames are not tormenting me. It only torments you if you don't want to change. Then that's a torment, right? If you enjoy hurting people and you don't want to give that up.
Yeah, and God is everywhere, meaning even if you go down into the deepest hell, where you're making your life around the all kinds of dark desires the human race can have to harm other people, even if you go and do that, God still burns with God's fire, which is love for you. And even though you've completely turned your back on God and God can't live with you in the way that God can live with people who love what's good, God is still going to try to care for you and try to continually turn you away from that. Sure, if you're in that kind of hell, you've got to be, there's going to have to be some boundaries set. Just like if somebody here is murdering other people, we have to put them somewhere where they can't get and murder the next person. But God is constantly trying to bring us into the light, because that the fire of love that God has is always to bring us into heaven out of hell. That is God's constant effort, and he never gives up on somebody and says, well, you did this, so I don't care about you anymore. Just think about the parent that's the best parent in the history of the world, like the mother who most loved her child out of any mother that God has for all of us as God's children. So yeah, it's gonna totally change the way we can relate to God. I'm sure it causes God a lot of grief when we harm each other, and there's got to be things that change in the way that our freedoms are and everything. But ultimately, God is still burning to try to give you the happiest life you can have, despite the bad choices we make.
God is restoration, right? I say that all the time. That's what he's in the business of restoration and restoring people, situations, marriages, broken things. He's a carpenter.
Yeah.
He's, Christ was a carpenter. He fixes things. He repairs things.
Yeah, but look at life. Look at how life is. God has created life, and what is life? Life is this. If you just, like, the other day, I was looking at a leaf and just seeing all the little veins in it, and the way that it has this intricate geometry and symmetry to it. Life is the business of order and of restoration and regeneration, of keeping things in their order. So it makes total sense that's what God is that life. So the nature of God is to restore and heal. So that's what everything that's alive has, this urge to heal itself once it's been damaged.
It's good. I know we didn't have you for long today. It took us a while to get this set up anyway. It took like almost an hour, but it wasn't your fault. It's my fault. Found something different. But I got, I guess, one good comment here for you. This is from Paula. Paula wants to know how to deal with or overcome demons, those dark forces in our life. How do you
Yeah.
face down demons?
The good news is you're used to it because we're facing down demons all the time. So heaven and hell are something that we can feel and interact with in our mind every day. Why do we have these dark desires and good desires? Heaven and hell are right around us, and heaven is always trying to influence us towards what's good and true. So the angels are trying to influence us towards that, and there's always what Swedenborg calls demons and Satans, which he says are people in the afterlife who have made hell central to their life. They're always trying to influence you to do what's evil and false, and they're always trying to attack you. All the negativity you get in your mind is coming out of hell. And it makes sense that if you just look around at the world, if you just look at social media, you're going to see that there's a bunch of negativity on it and there's a bunch of positivity on it. And that's because there's other people sending their messages in. People right now are commenting to us. Corey Barker just said, "Thank you guys so much for this life." That's coming out of Corey's heaven, right, into us here. So everybody's got a comment feed in their mind where heaven and hell are constantly trying to influence you. So the desires to do harmful things, the false thoughts that we get, those are demons. It's maybe not so direct, like they're sitting there doing that to you, but that's coming out of hell. So anytime that we reject something that we believe is harmful because we think it's against what's right and good and true to do, and we think it's against God, that is confronting a demon. And anytime that we reject an idea that we believe is false, that is confronting what Swedenborg would call a Satan. So I'm not saying that people don't have more direct experiences with evil spirits where they're really having sensory experiences. Swedenborg had those all the time because he could see the sort of hidden mechanics behind it. But even for somebody who's never had that, we are constantly confronting demons and evil spirits in the way that our minds are. And for me, generally, I haven't had like a overt spiritual experience of seeing a demon or something, but I've had all kinds of anxiety and depression and negativity, and I know you gotta lean on God. So I'll sometimes just like say the 23rd Psalm over and over again. The more I try to outthink it, and the more I try to go against it from my own power, it's not going to work. It's only spiritual truths that do it. It's only the principle, like that God is taking care of everything, that love is the most important thing, that Jesus exists and is the divine and human form and is there to protect you. That's the kind of stuff that you can fight from. Everything else that I bring at it, the demons are laughing at that. Like, it ends up worse for me. I'm more depressed than when I started. This is why I love spiritual truth so much. This is why I love Swedenborg so much, because the ideas in there, it's just like when Jesus is in the boat and he falls asleep and the disciples say, there's a storm, help us. And he wakes up and he gets the storm to stop. And they say, who is this guy that he can lay down the wind and the waves? That's the way it is for me. That's part of how I test the spirits, is when I have a principle, like some kind of spiritual truth, a way that, for example, I'm reading in Swedenborg about how God is. If when I use it in my mind, when I feel like hell is attacking me and it stops them, then well, who is this? This must be the truth, which is a little part of God. So, so there's an answer for that, and we could talk about any of these things forever. But I know that time and space are limited here, so there's a little answer.
Good stuff, man. Yeah, because people are dealing with them. They're dealing with your own demons, and obviously, the closer you get to the light, or the more light that you have in your heart, the brighter you shine. And I guess as a demon would be like an insect, they're attracted to the light, but
Right.
for a reason, right? For a reason. So, people say new levels, new devils. It's you just get privy to what's already there, like it was already there. You just didn't see it because you were focused on the rock that was in the way. Literally, you go under a rock and move it out the way, and you're gonna get insects under it. I cut my grass yesterday. We've been out of town, and I cut my grass and pulled my lawnmower out the way outside, and a rat came running out. He was hiding under the under the
Yeah.
lawnmower. It's not until that light hits those areas that the darkness has to flee and is exposed. So how do you do spiritual warfare? Not by battling and commanding. You can do that, but all of that is just getting clear in your mind and in your heart. Hopefully your words are coming from your heart and you really mean that, and it's an outward expression of something that's taken place within, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I don't have any power against hell. I can't do anything against, only God has power against hell, and God has power through the word. So it's through those truths and the understanding they bring me of God, and my asking him for help, even though it can seem like I'm the one who's sitting there and saying, well, I've got this concept, I'm not going to take that, I'm going to stand up in this way. I got to acknowledge and understand that the power to do that is coming from God, because otherwise I'm actually working right back into hell's hands, because hell wants to convince you that you are the most important thing in the universe, and that leads you to this feeling of, well, I can harm other people and turn myself away from God. But ultimately, the spiritual tests are meant to be a time when we learn that we're totally dependent on God, and that's what they're good for. So, yeah, man, it's great.
Spiritual warfare taking place in between. It's the articulation of what happens between two thoughts. Again, the decision.
Yeah,
What do I do?
yeah,
What do I do? What do I do? I mean, that's the Battle of Mordor. That's the Lord of the Rings. It's slowed down, stretched out personifications of the battle that takes place within your heart and mind. And, you know, some people hate it. They think it's fake. They think it's foolishness, this notion of spiritual warfare. Other people see results in it, of binding and loosing and yelling and prayers and beating themselves and things like that. But whatever works, if you're getting results, I think that those are just like outward manifestations of something that's taken place within. Hopefully, if not, your religion is in vain, right? I'm going to lead with this last comment here from my friend Amber. She says, you guys both spoke truth so beautifully, straight from the heart of God. It puts me in tears. It put me in tears. Hell is a topic that turns so many people away, to those that think that God just wants to punish people by burning them in hell, and that the lost cannot be saved once they are lost. It's a gut-wrenching viewpoint. To me, it is the most toxic belief that is held in the eyes of Christianity and keeps so many away, not even wanting to know God. Bless both of you.
Thanks, Amber.
It's beautiful, man. Speaking truth to power. This is what's real for you. This is your faith. This is the
Right.
proclamation of your faith. This is what you believe. This is what you do. And then when you speak it, if there's any truth in it, then it resonates with the people who are of the truth, right?
Right. You should feel it. You should feel truth when it hits. And if not, keep looking, keep examining it until you find out that it does. Don't just take our word for it. Weigh the ideas. Ultimately, it's going to be between you and God to figure it out. But I think that we're finding out that the truth is real enough that we come to gather around it. And we can recognize, oh yeah, that is true for all of us.
We're making so many strides right now, I think, right? There's pressure on all sides. But it seems like we're just returning. I mean, the Bible is about returning. Return to God. You fell away. You've stepped away. You've walked away. Return. Are we making new leaps in strides, or are we taking steps backward in a good way towards the ancient path, towards what Swedenborg knew and was trying to teach? Are we going back to what was once there, or are we making new strides? What do you think we're headed in the terms of Christian spirituality, I'll say?
Yeah, I think that there is something called the innocence of wisdom. So if you look at the journey that we're on, like compared to the journey that an individual human being goes on. So you start out as a kid, and when you're a kid, you have innocence. That means this willingness to be led, this joy in life. Everybody knows what innocence is when they see it. So you have that, and then you go through life and you grow up and you change and you're out of it in a lot of ways. But as you get to be old people have a sort of innocence about them. don't they? Except it's a different kind of innocence. It's like, again, they're kind of playful and they can love life. But this is the innocence of wisdom. This is the innocence when you know better, but now you know what life is. You've been up and been down, but now you get into this spot where you're sort of able to follow God simply through the innocence of wisdom. That's where Christian spirituality is heading. That there was an initial way, there was an ancient way that had it right in a lot of ways, but we've gone on this long journey. We've gotten to go explore the way to get it wrong, and now we're coming back to the core of what's true, but we're wiser, and now we can really engage with God, knowing what it is to not engage with God. So I think we are headed to a place that's both familiar and new at the same time, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Simple truths at the same time, so profound, something new, something old, you know.
Right.
Let people know, man, while we're here, and let people know where the best place to interact with you. I know you go live and do your own Q&As and stuff like that.
Sure.
What's the best page to follow?
Yeah, go to youtube.com/offtheLeftEye. And that's where you can find everything. We've got 1,000 videos on there about all these topics we've been talking about and more. So check us out there. Leave us a comment anywhere. We'll get back to you.
Good stuff. Thanks for coming on, Curtis, brother. Enjoyed it. And as you know, anytime, bro. I like what you got going on and what you're doing through Swedenborg and what he's doing through you, what God is doing through him, and the way that this all works. It's mind-blowing. It really is. And there was something, I know we don't have time, but just the idea of the angels and the collective and what goes into that and what they look like and the vastness of that information and us being channels, and as Swedenborg was a channel and we're channels too, man. Just I ponder on this stuff daily, especially after our conversation.
Very cool. Yeah, this was so fun. Let's do it again sometime soon.
All right, brother. Many blessings,
Thanks.
man.
Bye, everybody.
Shalom, shalom. Curtis Childs, ladies and gentlemen, Swedenborg Foundation, Off the Left Eye. Make sure y'all go follow him on all of his platforms, but definitely find him on YouTube. It's his main thing where he's at. Great. Cool. I'll hang out for a little bit longer. If anybody has any questions or wants to come on, tons of questions coming through here. If you've already asked a question that I didn't get to, ask it again. Copy, paste it, ask it again. If you'd like to come on video chat, if it works, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I'm going to X out all of them just in case some of them are old, and let you guys come on and ask a question or whatever you want to do for a few moments here. Really enjoyed it. Literally profound. The first talk we did, it was several weeks for me that everything lined up. Leanne says, why is it called Off the Left Eye? I know, interesting, right? I asked them that on the first podcast. So if you want to know why it's called that, go watch our first podcast on my YouTube or my Spotify. It's on there. Go look and he'll tell you. I asked him. I'm joking. But yeah, go listen because it was super good, really good. Off the Left Eye, he was saying that Swedenborg started having these spiritual experiences and spiritual encounters that he would see angels and spirits through his left eye, not with both eyes open, but with only through the left eye. Interesting. That was his modality. That was how he started working with the angels and having repeat experiences and doubling down on it and it working. So that's why he named it Off the Left Eye, because that's where he was able to see into the spirit with that good eye, that one good eye. It's so weird, man. We're relearning the ancient path. We're returning to the ancient path by default. Like the longer you stay on the spiritual path, the longer you stay on the path of love, you're returning to the ancient path. And in that, we're making up modalities. We don't making up because we don't know. Like we don't know. So it's like new. You guys are introducing new concepts that are not of God. they're not of God. So most of us tap into something like that through intuition, intuitively. When we're praying, when we're in prayer, something comes out of us, a sound comes out of us. You know how many people I've talked to who have the gift of praying in tongues, that they received that gift and it manifested when they were praying by themselves. It wasn't at a church. They didn't learn how to do it. A preacher didn't lay hands on them and bless them with the gift. They were just in levels of ecstatic prayer, and they began to vibrate and sing or speak in a foreign language. But when they did, there was a release, and they learned it that way. So if you're on that path of love and you're spiritual, we're returning to these modalities. And also, you should know that people that are not even Christian, like, people want to own all of this stuff, and that's what words and phrases do. They get in the way. So speaking in tongues, right? That's a Christian thing, right? Only Christians can do it. If anybody else does it, it's the devil. No, that's not true. Not by any means. Anyone can prophesy. Anyone can speak in tongues. What kind of tongues are you speaking in? Tongues is simply bypassing your analytical mind in the Spirit, Holy Spirit, the beautiful, sacred Spirit that you are, that is in you, because it lights you when you come into the world, and you get a greater measure of that. But you're tapping into that, and you're bypassing your analytical mind, that you don't have to phrase things up in a certain way so that God can understand you. Glossolalia. It's called many things. There's people in the New Age movement or spiritual movement that are doing it, and it's called light language. And to be honest with you, I'm kind of like, at first I'm just like, words are vibrational frequencies. That's the original. We used to communicate telepathically. That's a vibrational frequency that you're sending in a thought that can be measured. That's what it was at first. And then we started speaking it with grunting, caveman type grunting, right? And then you begin to articulate, but it's all vibrational frequency. Light language. People who aren't Christian by title. To me, they're Christians by love. If they do what Christ said do, they're Christians. Even if they don't like that name, even if they hate that name, because of what that represents now. In my book, they're brothers, they're sisters, because Jesus said, you know that they're my disciples by their love, not by their doctrine or what church they go to, or if they call it light language or speaking in tongues. Get out of here. It's by their love, not by the love they say they have, but the love that comes out of them. That's a piece of Christ. That's a piece of Jesus that is inside of each and every one of us. And that's what connects us. And that's what I judge. So I'm, hearing New Agers speaking light language, and I'm like, I can feel it. Like, I can feel the Holy Spirit, because when you step into correspondence or resonance, you can feel it. Oh, wow. Just like when somebody's way off and way on, like, oh, hold on, this ain't vibing. Something's off here. But when you step into correspondence, you can feel it. When Jesus steps in the room, trust me, his vibe's way up here. You feel that. You literally get chills on your body. All of your hairs on your body stand up. You're a receiver, that you're in the presence of greatness. I've been in meetings where people are stuck to the floor because Jesus steps in. Christ steps into the room that they're in, and they're stuck to the floor, and they can't even get off the floor because they're weeping, because how beautiful and how holy and how radiant the energy is. It's glorious. That's a higher level vibrational being. That's Jesus, the highest. Not just a higher, because higher beings come in and you may want to do that too. But what did they tell you? Get up, man. Get off the floor. I'm not him. I know I'm, let me, they'll even dumb it down. They'll take on a different appearance. That's why you're seeing synchronicities. That's why you're seeing numbers. You can't see God and live. There's no way. So dumbing it down so that it can come to your level. We got to do that. We have to do that with information. I do that with music. I do that, we do that with movies and presentations, stories, allegories, to try to dumb it down, to teach it in the way that the people might be able to get it. And that's how Christ spoke. That's who he was. The whole story of Christianity is God became a man. He left heaven to come to earth to be with humanity. He took on gross flesh. He took not on himself the likeness of angels, but he took on the nature of man to show you that you can do it too, through him, Christ in you. So judgment's big. You should judge, but judge righteously. Let your judgments be righteous. Don't judge by appearance. Judge by the fruit, because a good tree brings forth good fruit. Amber says, the Lord told me one time that there are those who do not believe in me, but know me and live through me, and that those who believe in me and say they know me and don't live through me. He told me the same thing. He told his disciples the same thing. That's very biblical. It's very biblical. It continued through Paul. Paul continued to teach that. They all continued. So it's everyone who has the fruit of love in their life. There's certain fruits of the Holy Spirit. And this is going to make all the Christians mad, but anybody walking in the fruits, you can't fake fruit, man. You can't go out there and talk to the apple tree and make it give you an orange. Apple tree is going to give you apples. A love tree is going to love. A compassion tree is going to show compassion. You are a vineyard with all types of trees in you that bud, that give fruit, that people eat from. Your children eat from it. Your enemies eat from it. And a good tree can only produce good fruit. That's big. So those who are producing that fruit, I see you. I see you. And that is your faith. That is naming the name of Christ. Naming the name of Christ has nothing to do with you said a few magical words and now you're one of us. No, you live a magical life and now you're one of us. What kind of magical life? Magic? Yeah, magic of love. Love magic. Forgiveness magic. Creative magic. You don't like the word magic? Use whatever word you want. Who says that? We show what we sow. Yeah. Yeah, that's Paula. We show what we sow. Yeah. It comes out of you. It's only a matter of time. And the matter of time is pressure. When you're fed up and people tell you how they really feel. They'll show you their true colors. Show you their true colors. It's only a matter of time. You gotta wait. Time will show you, oh, I knew you was a thief. I knew you wouldn't pay me back. Man, I'll pay you back. Let me borrow $20, man. I'll pay you back. Okay. I promise. I swear to God, I'll pay you back. They don't pay you back. Okay. So when they come back, that same way, that's a judgment based off of experience. And you should. But people change. People learn. People can see the error of their ways. Just because they do bad, that's who they are. But yeah, it comes out of them. But you got to get to the root of it. I say them, us. us. That stuff's in us. We're going through this. Listen, everything that we project, that's cool. Let's project, but make sure you're projecting it right back to yourself. Because it's coming, pressed down, shaken together, running over. As you give, it's going to be given unto you. That's not just for money. That's for blessings. That's for friendship. That's for a helping hand. That's whatever. Whatever you put out there, whenever you need it, one will be appointed for you. I believe that with all of my heart. With all of my heart. These lives that we've been building, or whatever we are today, this didn't come overnight. I've been preparing my whole life for this, literally in my head, in my life, preparing my whole life for what I'm doing right now. Nobody could see it. I couldn't even see it. I knew it was coming one day, but when? I'm reminded so much, and I'm immediately stepping into gratitude. Immediately stepping into gratitude. That's why we need to be reminded. You know, I'm big on that. I wrote about it in my book. Monuments, tattoos, jewelry. I mean, so many things are a reminder. Like the Jewish people, they had all kinds of reminders. They had reminders, mezuzahs, in a few different places in their home. They had it over their doorway, so that when they come in through the door, they would touch it. And what it is, it's the law, a certain scripture. I forget what it is right off. We used to have them, but they have that scripture folded up rolled up in a piece of paper in a scroll, and it's on their doorpost. So when they come home, they're reminded. When you see this house, you're reminded. You know. And then they have it in different places within the home. So yeah, reminders are big. Sky says, TruthSeekah, how long was it from your dream to its fruition? Man, there's a lifetime. You know, every step was a step in that direction, though. Even the ones that seem like a step backward. I said in a song that I just wrote for Influence, we did a feature. I say, I take 2 steps forward, then I take 3 steps back. Then I take 20 steps forward to get back on track. So whatever setbacks, learn from it. Because the next time you're going to be tripped up, you learn, oh, I'm not stumping my toe there. I'm gonna let my setback be a slingshot into my destiny and what I'm supposed to be doing. Everything is a learning process. If we're teachable. That's how you know if you're a son or daughter of God. Because God chastises those in whom he loves. It means he teaches you. How do we learn? Hands-on. We learn hands-on. So if you're being taught by God through everything, then you're a son or a daughter. But you're a bastard because you receive not correction if you're not being taught. That's just is what it is. And that's what separates the sheep from the goats, sons of God from the sons of the devil. Correction, because they receive not the correction of their father. They're going to do it their own way. And there's a way that seems right unto a man, but in the end leads to destruction. These are eternal precepts. For any, it don't matter you're a Christian or not. I don't care if it's your first time hearing this or you've been hearing this your whole life. I don't care if you believe in the Bible, you think it's a book of control. Listen, this is universal law. Go get all the universal law books you want, and they're going to testify according to this word because it's truth. I got all them books. It's cohesive if there's truth in it. If there's truth, and if there's fake books, people trying to deceive you, there's that too. But if there's anything that's true, anything that's good, let it speak according to this word. Adam says, also depends on your path. There is something that if there's something you want to change, but 15 years later, it's still the same, think on some things in life, but other things become beautiful. I didn't give up. That's the difference. A lot of folks give up. I don't give up. I don't give up. We were supposed to go on vacation the other day. We just got back from vacation. And we had the flight plan, all that, 1 hour flight. We're packing, getting ready, got to get up the next day to go on vacation. And then my wife checks in on the flight log and all that. And it said they put our return date the day before. And they didn't tell nobody. Just when she checked in, it's okay, you're coming back Saturday. Well, no, Saturday's like our big day. We got a lot planned to put money on this, and no, we can't come back a day early. And we try to call and see what's up and get another flight. And well, we don't have any other flights. That's all you can do. We can give you credit. I don't want no credit. You mean credit? I'm not finna use you if this is how you treat your customers. You know, you change their plan and then not give them their money back. So we got a dilemma. You can panic. Panic tries to come in. It's usually the first thing that tries to come in. But we got to move to faith. I don't give up. No, we're going on vacation. Get in the car. Let's go. I'm driving through the night. Boom. Y'all go to sleep. I'm driving. What? You going to drive? Get in the car. Let's go now. Really? What are we going to do? We're going to get a hotel halfway, drive the rest of the way. We got this. My mind is made up. This is what we're doing. Don't give up on your dream. Let an outside source determine how you feel. You're going to let something outside of you dictate how you live your life. A setback. No, that's a setback. That's a test. Y'all didn't want to go anyway, did you? Not really. Yes, I want to go. My wife wants to go. Guess what? Just as God would move heaven and earth for me, I'm going to do that for my children and for my wife. We're going. Well, we're not going to fly. Listen, get in the car. Let's go. Boom. You got to be committed. The Bible says that you can't put your hand to the plow and look back. You're not worthy. You look back. I'm always looking for people to help me. Just to be honest with you. I'm looking for people to help me with my ministry and so much that I do, because it's a lot that I do. I'm looking for people to help me, and people show up, and I don't say nothing to them. You know, I know they're looking for a position. I know they want to help. Obviously, you look at the people who will help by themselves. You don't ask them to do it. That's the ones you want to. Okay, I didn't even ask you to do that, and you're doing it. Wow, Wow, that's who you want on your team, right? I have people in my corner. People come and go with what we do here. With anytime you talk about religion and philosophy and spirituality and politics, listen, they come in and go. But I pay attention, so I don't want to give somebody a responsibility who they're not committed. They're not committed. You give somebody a big responsibility who's not committed, and then the first sign of a storm, they're gone. Oh, you got my bank account information. You got my login to Facebook, and now you are trying to expose me on the internet. No, you crazy. Listen, you got to be careful, man. Just give it time. If they're committed, they're going to be there for the long haul. You want to go through some stuff with people, because it's going to bring it out of them too. See what comes out of them. Oh, you was a deceiver. Like, the best thing that happened to the disciples was Judas. Oh man, he would have killed all of them. He would have turned them all in, got more gold. Oh, I can turn them all in. Listen, he showed his true colors. You want people to show their true colors. So when you got people in your corner, find people who are committed, who ain't going nowhere. Who ain't going nowhere. Gavin McDonald says, I'm coming back, but I have to bump that song now. So you want some of those lyrics, huh? Yeah. It all comes out in the wash, Paula. You're right. You're right. It's in the fire. That's what the fire is. That's what the gold is. And there's golden friendships. There's golden friendships. There's stuff that you can tell people that I don't care. There was like this challenge, and I'm not saying to do this or I did it, but I find the analogy funny. But these people would it was a challenge. Call your friend, tell them you just killed somebody or you just robbed a bank, and I need you to come pick me up. Like that was a challenge, and they would film it to see what the person would say. They call, hey man, come pick me up, man. I just robbed the bank, man, and oh, bro, they coming for me. I need help. Can I come stay with you for a couple of days and you just come get me? And it's like what they say no more, fam, on the way. Versus like, no, I can't let you come over here. But those kind of things, you know, those are the kind of friends that you need. The friends who are just not going to take up for you for doing bad stuff, but the friends that are the no questions asked because we're friends, you know. It don't matter what you're going through a hard time. I got money. There's certain things just because the way I was brought up, the way I was raised, that I didn't have in my life. Money being one of them. And I got a good friend, and it's not a friend just because of the money. But I remember hitting this friend up, and I was planning something for my wife, and some money was supposed to come through in a couple days, and it hadn't hit yet. I was like, man, it's coming Monday, but I need it now. And I hit my friend up. I was like, hey man, can I borrow this much money? And it was a lot of money. At least I thought. Maybe not for him, I don't know. But for me, it was a lot of money. And it's like, hey, man, I'm trying to do this. Can I borrow the money? Say, I got you. Boom, here it is in your account. Got. Dang. And for me, that's like, wow. Because I don't know. I'm be honest. I don't know if I had the money, if I would give it. Because there's a lot of money for me. If you hit me up asking me for that kind of money, I'm sorry. But now, for sure, you know, do good unto others if you got it. But that went a long way for me. And we fight and we go back and forth. And it's not just a friend that I can get money from if I need it, because that never happened again. But it's like, you know what, this dude, he trusts me and he's a friend. And that's people I need in my life. And we fight. We fight all the time, like brothers. That's what brothers do. Fight, we argue, we make up, we come back together, and we grow together. That's what it's about. You know, that was one friend. Another friend, like I remember when I first started like going deeper in my studies and my experiences and what I really believed, and a lot of it went against the fundamental Western Christian belief of what these do's and don'ts are, or what doctrine stuff meant doctrinally, that I just don't believe anymore. And I don't believe it not just because of experience, but because the Bible doesn't teach it. It's like the Bible don't teach that, so I don't know. It's like one scripture and you're basing like your whole life on this one verse. No, I want to go with the majority, and that's where I'm at. If there's a majority of something that teaches that's cohesive, it's a universal truth. Going through that, and friends would find out, and ministry people would find out, and they didn't want nothing to do with me. Stay away from TruthSeekah. He's a false prophet. TruthSeekah's into astrology. TruthSeekah's into demons or whatever. TruthSeekah worships the devil. Even it still happens today. You know, that's years removed. I got people I thought were good friends on here telling people I'm a Freemason and telling people all these weird things and just craziness, you know, and all these accusations. And it's not about the accusations, but it was about me with a friend opening up to them. And I would try to tell them things that I knew that it would be the straw that broke the camel's back. And I gotta say, I'm gonna say their name. And I don't want to tell you the friend who sent me the money, because y'all gonna DM them for money. I know how y'all work. You should see the video. We did some videos helping people, homeless people, giving them money. You should have seen how many people DM me wanting money. Get out of here, right? People are hit them up for money. I don't want to do that. But Samuel McCrae, not the money, But the person that I was like, hey man, this is what I really believe about that, and it would check them, it would scare them. You know what I'm saying? Because it's from a Christian upbringing, and it would scare them. And oh, I could see that. And but I thought that we would get off the phone and he would never answer the phone with me again or whatever. And then I would just keep going because I don't have nobody to talk to about this but my Christian friends. And how many of the Christians that haven't given up on me that were going to stick around and maybe explore it with me? I'm a bad influence, right? But that brother, I would tell him things. It's about like, little small revelations that I would get that I'm telling you guys. Now this stuff's normal. But back then it wasn't. It wasn't cool. It wasn't cool to talk about that. About terms, really terms in the Bible. I'm a big definition guy. Y'all heard me talking to Curtis and going through those definitions and like the multiple meanings. So, I would roll things off of them like who is Lucifer, and who Lucifer really is in the Bible, and who Satan is in the Bible, and who the devil is, and all of these things that we're taught it has to be this way. And if you go against it, you're going to be mocked, you're going to be laughed at, you're going to be ridiculed. And it's just these weird things that we believe, but it was through religion. Like, how many of you believe that Satan was the worship leader in heaven? The Bible don't say nothing like that. The Bible don't say nothing like that. And I would share things, and it would shake him because he's like, "What do you mean? Yes, he is." So anyway, good friends that you can trust. Leanne says, so he stood by you or he outed you? He stood by me. Stood by me for years when I was going through a very hard time, when I was coming out, whatever that means, with that spirit, as a Christian minister, as an evangelist, as a Christian rapper, with some of my beliefs and things I was doing and stuff like that. He stood there even when people would ridicule me, they would ridicule him, make fun of me to them, all this kind of stuff. It was very hard, super hard. Some of y'all are going through it right now. That's why I'm talking about this. But he stood by me, and he's gone. Life happens. He's still a friend. I think if I need him today, he would be there. But we don't kick it. He's going a different direction. But if I needed something, hey, come pick me up. I just robbed the bank. He's probably gonna show up. Those are the people you need in your life. And fruit, that's their fruit. How do they respond? Iron sharpens iron. That means these two rough edges are going against each other to both be sharpened out. Iron sharpening iron. That's as brother to brother, as friend to friend. That's the truth. What up, Ryan? And I see Ryan Rhodes. He's a good friend. See, Ryan's an OG too. Ryan Rhodes is an OG. We know, we go back to Ryan Rhodes doing worship sessions. I used to do acoustic worship, and I would rap and sing, and we play guitar, and it was a beautiful experiences. And Ryan would beatbox while we were doing worship. So you got a worship set with like a really good beatboxer doing turntables and EDM effects, and it sounded good. So Ryan's an OG too. Ryan's there. He was there through all of that for me. But that's why it's good that we have people in our corners that can help carry our load. Ryan says, I'm going to swing through this weekend. For sure, brother. Hit me up, man. Hit me up. Gavin says, I'm okay to say this podcast rocks. What up? Thank you, man. So I'm going to give y'all some of this verse, okay? I'm going to give you some of this verse since I gave you a little bit of it. I haven't written in a long time. I got to write a verse today for a friend of mine that just commissioned me for a verse. But I haven't written since my album came out, which was in October. So I've kind of been removed from music and really just been studying. So writing's been hard unless I'm studying. Like if I study and I read and then I go back to writing, now I got all these new concepts and new words. I can go with it. But if I'm at a place that's stagnant, I'll start repeating the words, and I don't like that. I don't want to repeat myself, even though I do. Trust me, I do. I repeat myself all the time. But in my head, knowingly, no, you can't say that. I'm hard on myself. That's how I produce the music I produce. So there's that. So I got back into writing to do this feature for Influence and Loke Saint. Shout out to those guys. Good brothers. Influence is a good brother. Straight up. He's local. Influence is local. That's my homie. So I'm gonna try to rap some of this. I don't have the beat on here. I do have the beat. I'm not gonna play it though. I'm just gonna try to acapella it. But it goes, forgive me, Heavenly Father. Sorry. Heavenly Father, please forgive me, Lord. I know what I do. I roll with dealers, roll with killers. I know what's wrong, but I do. I speak the truth, the opposition, learn to stand my ground, and I resist the fallen system, raise the vibe with my sound. I take 2 steps forward, I take 3 steps back. Then I take 20 steps forward to get back on track. This is that alchemy right inside of me. Study prophecy, astrology, written in the stars, it is astronomy, astrotheology that's mixed with Greek philosophy. I take too long to write, so it's quality over quantity. I'm blessed beyond the curse, beyond the state of the economy. With wealth comes wisdom, so I'm pulling up at the Dollar Tree. Calling me, follow me to the darkness, peace within the silence, conscious dwelling in the position of where my heart is. And all the people in my corner know I'm solid. I lift my eyes to the skies, to the starships. Yeah, it's a verse I just did for Influence. You got to hear it with the beat, in the swag. You know, I ain't wrote nothing in a while, but I felt good about it. I felt good about it. Felt good. Came out of me, created, did it. Did the doggone thing. Somebody had a longer comment here. Question, Karen. Karen, heaven. Conscious dwelling in the position where my heart is. A few years back, I had a specific vision that prompted a lot of research. I get driven by the Holy Spirit, and hear what I found contrary to what I've ever heard in church. There is a lot of evidence that suggests Jesus was indeed married and had a daughter with Mary. It has become a censored subject to hide a true DNA God gene and a true loyal bloodline. Anyway, just wondering your thoughts on this and if you've ever had any. Yeah, I don't really so with that, most of the theory is everybody who carries that Jesus had children and all that kind of stuff. I like your comment, bud. I need to get back to that in a minute. Got some words, Strongs. Most of the theories are, thank you for the stars, Medea, Witty, thank you. Most of the theories are that Jesus didn't die on the cross, and he went off and started a life with Mary Magdalene, and they lived happily ever after. That he was going to the cross, but then somebody else died in his place because he actually had somebody else carry his cross for him halfway. Simon, or Simeon, carried his cross halfway. So they try to say that that's who died on the cross and it wasn't Jesus. So that theory, no. Of Jesus not going to the cross and going to start a family, no. I don't believe that. But of him having a family before that, I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know. But the scriptures don't teach that. That's some extra biblical stuff. And again, a lot of those Gnostic texts were made to throw people off. I'll say that. Now we're getting a little bit deeper. So you got that. But you also mentioned the God gene, or children of God, or descendants of Christ, and all this kind of stuff. That notion's all throughout the Bible, but it's not. But quickly, the carnal mind goes to bloodlines, like you said, bloodlines. And we know the 13 bloodlines. We know about the Illuminati bloodlines and these kind of things, right? So you got some of that going on. But the carnal mind quickly gets into calling people by their race, who's of God and who isn't. And I've studied diligently under some of those, and believed some of that until I found all the holes that were in that ship, um, of a race of people, or these people are the true Israelites, or these people are the true descendants of Moses, or people say I can trace my genealogy back to Moses and all that kind of stuff. Like that's what you get into really quick. And the scriptures kind of warn of that. It says, "No, no man according to the flesh." A true Jew, a true Israelite is one inwardly. So the Black Hebrew Israelites is the sect that I studied under for a couple years. Learned so much, learned how to study the Bible, learned how to break it down, reference it, cross-reference it, other books missing, learned so much, but they were so off on a lot of stuff, a lot of stuff. They would make fun of us when we would worship, when I would sing worship music, or want to get in God's presence and feel his love and sing in bliss. They were totally head knowledge, zero heart knowledge, zero heart knowledge. And the truth is in the middle. It's right there in two, right? It's having the head and the heart knowledge be as one. Most Christians are just heart knowledge. They don't have nothing to think with. They don't know the scriptures. They don't know the Bible. They get into fight or flight. Like they make up things. They repeat what they heard. Like they're in that faith game of like, I don't know, but I just believe because somebody said. No, you need to know, right? So you want the two to become one. When if you confess with your mouth and you believe in your heart, so it's the head where you could think about, confess it, you know it, you study it, and you confess it with your mouth. The head and heart become one. These three are one. That's how manifestation is made. Manifestation isn't made of hoping something's going to happen. No, I'm holding on to this one. Oh, you need to let that go. No, I'm holding on to this one. So anyway, I learned so much, but I did, and I also learned not to judge according to the flesh. I learned that, many of them were racist. Many of them, but I could see why. I try to put myself in their shoes, in their position. Like I'm Native American. I have a lot of Native American in me. I grew up on the reservation. So like I could see why. When I found out about that, about the tribes of Israel possibly being Native American, like what jumped in me, what happened in me, so I can understand what it does for Hebrew Israelites to feel like they're special because of their blood, because they've been told that they were hated. A lot of Christians, if you get down far enough, good church people tell you that black folks are the curse of Cain, and the mark of Ham are black people, and their skin is their mark. See, that's why you got to be careful going around talking about a bloodline, because just as I studied that from the Hebrew Israelites that say all white people are devils, all white people are devils. That's what they believe. Many of them. Now, there's some get through the threshold of, if you keep the law, then you're accepted as a slave in Israel. I studied it from the Black Hebrew Israelites, and what broke me out of that is in good old Mississippi. That's why I live in Alabama. Going work in Mississippi with people who were in the capper, the Ku Klux Klan, card-carrying members of the Confederacy. And I worked, they were my bosses at work. Like I was working as an electrician helper, and they were all in the Klan. Like still to this day, in the Klan. They got documentaries on the History Channel that my boss is in. Like this is, so we got to talking about who are the true Israelites and the true Jews. And I'm like, yeah, them, because there's a couple scriptures on that kind of stuff. And we used to work in Hattiesburg, Ryan. I see your comment, Hattiesburg, Mississippi. They up in there, Laurel, all up in there, man. The Klan is still alive there. But we talk about the Bible And my boss would like, yeah, you know that? Yeah, all those say they're Jews, but are not. Revelations 2:9 and Revelations 3:9. Those who claim they are the Jews, but are not, but are actually of the synagogue of Satan. And then you get to pick your prophecies and put it on those people. I talked to my boss about that, and he lit up when we started talking about it. But he was approaching it from a white perspective, that the white man was the true Jew and the true Israelite, and this kind of the black people were this and black people were that. And so every day at work, we we we, we butt heads. We go at it. Like he'd hit me with something, and I'm like, God, well, he's could be right, man. That sounds right. And I'd go home and I'd call my elders and the Black Hebrew Israelites, and I stumped their mind, and they couldn't give me no answers and stuff. And these are people who were super learned. I'm talking about the top dogs in these movements right now. Got hundreds of thousands of followers. These people, they couldn't answer my questions. These were the people who trained me. I had their phone number, still got their phone number, but they couldn't answer it. But we'd go and we'd butt heads all day, going back and forth. And those scriptures that say no man according to the flesh, a true Jew is one inwardly. All of those scriptures started to make sense to me. Even in I think it's Timothy or whatever, it says like, don't get caught up in genealogies and vain ramblings about who are these people and who are that people, because really quick you start calling people things that they're not. We preached downtown in Alabama, and there were some Israelites who came down because we didn't have a lot of those here. We had a group that would go out and preach, and they came out and they would look at my white friend who was preaching with me, and he'd say, "It's an Edomite. It's an Edomite. You're an Edom." This is a whole world, guys. This is deep, really dark stuff, but it's alluring, like any lie is. They would call him an Edomite, and then I knew the scriptures because I did the study. Now, hold on, you can't. The scripture says you cannot abhor an Edomite, for he is your brother. You're not supposed to call this man. You don't know what this man is. Yes, he is. He's a redhead white man. He's an Edomite. He's a devil. I'm like, man, you're not supposed to. The scripture speaks against it. You can't go up to, it says no man according to the flesh, and they would handle people and stuff. And so all of that was like, yeah, this ain't what I'm looking for. This ain't. And they turn into a cult, leave the country, sell your belongings, and come live with us, kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, it's time to get out. But that's where it goes, of trying to pick and know people according to a bloodline. So a bloodline, how do you know the bloodline? And as you know, the guy in Germany was into this too, a supreme color, right? Same thing. So when you start knowing people according to the flesh, you begin to label people out. You're not supposed to judge people. You're supposed to judge them by their fruit. That's how you know what seed they're of. That's how you know if they're Israelite or not. Because even these Israelites, these black Israelites would be like, they would call out white people on the people who are in Hollywood, celebrities. Hey, you know that Leonardo DiCaprio, he's an Israelite. Yeah, he's Israelite. His father was black, or his great grandfather was black. And they'll be like, you can't tell according to what he looks like, but yeah, he's Israelite. You can't. And so they would get some of that stuff, man. But you're talking about like no spirit in it, all head knowledge and studying. And listen, they got a lot of that. But you got to have that heart knowledge. And your heart knowledge is not going to let you call somebody outside of their name unless you know that you're not going to speak it. And that's what we eventually get to. And they definitely didn't have that. They'll throw a label on you, put a curse on you quick. I hope that helps. And that just gets into so much. So, but yeah, are there evil people here that are doing evil things, and this is what they're here to do? For sure. They're here. They're doing it. Or the question is, did they start out evil? And do we all start out neutral? Because I do, a huge part of me believes that we start out neutral, and those decisions over and over and over and over and over again. Now you're in some position, fraternity, that you're like, man, I bit off more than I can chew. So that totally happens to good people. Good people go bad. But on this idea is the idea that these people never had a choice because they're created with that in their anatomy. That is their nature, and they can't do good because it's all that is in them that is bad. The Bible speaks on that. But I'm talking about today, being able to look at people and judge them, who they are, what bloodline they're from. You know that by their fruit. A good tree produces good fruit. We got to go to the trees, guys. The tree, it is biblical. Like a tree is a family tree, yo. In the garden, that's a family. The two trees, the tree of knowledge and then the tree of life, knowledge of good and evil, that's head and heart. That's head and heart. And the two were mixed, and that's us. So we have a mixture. Those are family trees that weren't supposed to mix, because now you got murderers mixing with angels or gods or light beings. And now you got a murderous light being. We've been talking about this. I'm going to keep talking about it. I love it. It's amazing. So deep. So anyway, I just want to say, just be careful with that. Are they here? Yeah. But, the gospel, good news, they can repent, hopefully. And if they don't, then you know who they're of. Just like Jesus told the Jews that were of the left-hand path, that were of Cain, their father, the devil. He called them that. But he knew, because he's only trying to preach to them. He's only trying to reach them. He's only showing them love, and they want to kill him. And that's how you know, because their father is a murderer. It's like trade. It's in you. Your father's a painter. It's in you to paint. It's in there somewhere. If your great-grandfather was a preacher, you might be a preacher too. There's whole generations of preachers, right? Same type of thing. You are like your father. That's a generational curse or a generational blessing. So can they choose? Can everybody choose? Can our leaders choose to this day to become righteous? I don't know. I don't know. What is the oath that they've taken? I don't know. I haven't taken those oaths. Karen says, thank you for answering. Legit info I found in old Jewish info was Mary was 3 months pregnant when she died, when Christ died on the cross. Okay. She was taken to France and raised her daughter there. I'm still researching for facts. But it's so interesting that people are afraid to talk about the possibility. Yeah, again, like all of this is a possibility. We weren't there. So that's the idea of like, you can't speak with no hard facts. And because the moment you do, then you're going to find something that undoes that for you. So err, if you're going to err with a hard truth or a hard right, err on the side of love. Err on the side of there's a little bit of slack, some playroom. Don't err on the side of judgment, on the side of name calling, finger pointing, hatred, damning people to hell. Don't err on that side, because if you err on that side, it's a slingshot. It's coming back. There's no action that doesn't have a reaction. You can't pull that slingshot back and let it go without something come back to pop you in the face. So make sure when it does, it was grace. It was love. Err on that side. It's a lot better. Those repercussions are a lot easier than the err on judgment. When I had all those people coming against me, when I was going through my transitions and all that stuff of who I am, when that was happening, it was so hard, but I chalked it up. I would say karma, right? You say karma, but I chalked it up to I was reaping what I was sowing, because I was doing that to other people. I got songs about prosperity preachers. I got songs about T.D. Jakes. I got songs about Creflo Dollar and Benny Hinn, making fun of these people and exposing them, and all kinds of things that I'm ashamed of. But I've got all of that You know what I'm saying? And so when it started happening to me, and I want to sit there and complain, listen, bro, you signed up for this. You you're gonna put a judgment and judge people on something that you're not willing to be judged of? That's what the scripture says. If you're gonna say it, make sure that you take the log out of your own eye before you try to take the speck out of your brother's eye. You're trying to judge these people on this, but you got all this going on. What if we pull that out your closet? What you got in your closet? What's in your wallet? What if that happens? So that should immediately move us to grace. Immediately. It does for me. And I think that a true son or daughter of God, it will. Compassion. How many people do you think, again, Mary, any of those people in the Bible that received the healing from Christ? How many of those people, you should just clean yourself up, pull yourself up by the bootstrap? No, I needed help. And when I asked for it and it was there, I humbled myself. I went against what animals do. I asked for help and I was shown compassion. Those who are forgiven much love much. You don't know what I've been forgiven of. You don't know what he's forgot. I did things that I never forgive myself of. Let's cry. I'm gonna cry. I like to cry. I cry on here a lot. I done did things I'll never forgive myself of. But he's forgiven me. Like, who am I to judge anybody? Who are any of you to judge anybody? And that's what Jesus' message. Like, who are you to judge? This poor woman, you're judging her because she got caught in the act of adultery? How about help her? How about she don't have a place to live? And she's staying at inns every night because she's able to sell her body, get money, and have a place to sleep with her kids. You're going to judge them. Open up your damn church. Let them sleep in the back room. Come on, man. This stuff's practical, man. This stuff's real. All the cool fairy tale stuff's far out, but there's a reason for this. And you know to show compassion. That's where miracles are born. In compassion, in gratitude, in thanksgiving, in love. That's where that's why I do what I do. That's why I do what I do. I'm speaking to the younger version of myself that's caught up, that's being made fun of. They don't have nobody to talk to. And just so happens to be many of those people are you. There's a reason why my story resonates. I got a message this morning, man, a beautiful message on Instagram. Listen, I usually don't read long messages, guys, because I get so many long ones, and my responses are usually short. I'd rather have you on here, bring you in on a call or something to talk to you. I don't really read or tweet too many long messages, but I read this one, and it was, man, I read your book, TruthSeekah, and your story. This was an older, I believe, Hispanic man. I read your book, man, and I've been through so much that you've been through. And he began to explain what he'd been through. And I was like, yeah, it sounds very much like my story, you know? So I could see, you know, we have a lot in common. And that's, once you listen, I say this, I try not to gossip because I know what it feels like to be gossiped about. I'm a son, I learn. This is how we're going to teach you, TruthSeekah. I ain't going to tell you because I told you, you still do it anyway. Ask my mama. You got to go through it. We're going to have this congregation of churches talk about you. And because there's power when they speak, you'll be able to feel it. It'll cut you to your core. When a large collective of people wish you harm, you're going to be able to feel it. And it's going to move you so deeply that you'll never want anyone to feel that way. Now, the bastard son feels that feeling and says, you know what? I want others to feel this pain. I want a villain story. I want others to hurt like me. I want others to know what it feels like to have the one thing you love ripped from your heart. Like, the Christ story is compassion. Oh man, I don't never want nobody. Because what is the story of the cross? I'm gonna take their punishment on me. I'm gonna carry their sins because God forbid they have to carry it themselves. Their punishment. I'm gonna right their wrongs. I'm gonna make it easy for them. I'm gonna show them how it can be done. I'm gonna take it upon myself so that all the punishment it'll fall on me. I'm the advocate. I'll take the rap. I'll go to jail for something that I didn't do. Jesus was literally crucified between two thieves. He never stole anything, but he died the death of a thief and of a murderer for you, for me. This is the most scandalous, the most powerful story, the most powerful message in the world. That's why it's under attack. You can't kill it. You can't take it away. It's in every realm that exists. It is in your body. Your body has the gospel written in it. Your cells, the stars. The Bible says, surely the heavens declare the goodness of God, the mystery of God. The heavens, the stars, all creation is groaning. It's encoded, it's embedded with it, the song of the creator, of praise, of adoration, of worship. It's in it. You can't get away from that. It's beautiful. So surrender to it. Surrender to the love. Surrender to the correction. Because it's trying to help you. God's not trying to take something cool from you. Sin is only fun for a season. But sin has to be atoned for. See, that's what we don't understand. That's why that's the gospel. Jesus atoned for our sins. Hey, somebody got to pay up for this. All that stuff you did, all the witchcraft, all the word curses, all of the destruction, the lying, the cheating, the hatred, all of the sin, they got to pay for their sins. But Jesus made atonement. That's the gospel for your sins. Because somebody's got to pay for this. So trusting, believing in that love, in that grace that covers all sins, even the ones that we don't forgive ourselves over. It gives us the power to do that, where we're not reminded of it. Because on the other hand, what comes to collect is what you'll call demons. And they still come to collect until they're reminded, until you step in Christ in that area of your life. Because if you're for those who are in Christ, there's now no more condemnation. What do you mean? That's what he told the woman caught in the act of adultery. Women, where are your accusers? They don't accuse you. They was about to, but I stepped up, spoke for you. They're spoken for, and now your accusers are gone. Let Jesus, let love, let Christ stand up and speak to those areas of your life that need help, that need healing. Because if he doesn't, the bill collectors are coming. The wages of sin is death. Jesus experienced it. He defeated it. He took it on himself. The way he became sin. Jesus literally became sin, defeated death. The wages of sin is death. took it upon himself at the cross and defeated it. Those systems are still at play, but you're not supposed to be in them. You're not supposed to be being judged by them. You're not supposed to be a partaker and operating in gossip. Your words still carry weight. You still create when you speak, good or bad. It comes back to you. Just look at the rice experiment. You'll find out very quickly that your words carry power, even more. So with that, you should be careful, slow to speak. Jesus' words should mean more to you now, because you know the metaphysics behind vibrational frequencies in your language. To show compassion, to show love, to show mercy, because it's going to be shown to you. You show judgment, it's coming back to you. So yeah, I did that. I had to deal with it. Why would you, so many people do things and end up in jail, and then they turn into little kids. They turn in, which they really are inwardly, but they're hardcore gangsters, and they faint when they get their sentence. There's tons of videos of that. People act like they died. Some people take themselves out. They read them their sentence, they snuck poison in. You've seen those videos too. Because they can't face the consequences of what they've done. I don't think any of us could. That's the idea of like eternal torment in hell. But the good news, gospel means good news, is that hell has been defeated. The enemy's been defeated. Listen, they mine. I got them. But he did this. He did that. She did this. Oh, no, they didn't know no better. Yeah, they did. They didn't. Well, I got them. I got them. Karen, if Jesus did have a child, it explains why Satan is always trying to wipe out that Jewish lineage. Supposedly the Catholic Church has the evidence hidden away so they can remain, and it's been the true purpose behind the Crusades for centuries. Interesting twist to it all. There's definitely some bloodline, stuff in there for sure. And if it wasn't like the children of Jesus, it's the children of good people. The war has always been there, good versus evil, polarity, light against dark. It's always been there. There were so many crusades and so many reasons why, but it was to take out bloodlines for sure. Whether it was the blood, even when Jesus came on the scene as a baby, Herod, who is of a fallen bloodline, right, of the lower bloodline of Cain, Herod put out a decree to kill all the Persians. The Magi came to welcome the Messiah. The Messiah has been born. We followed his star. That's astrology, guys. Astrotheology, anyway. We followed the star. These are wise men. And then Herod put out the decree to take out the firstborn, or the children who've been born in between this time. So Jesus is whisked away and goes to Egypt as an infant. Same thing happens with Moses. Moses was a Messiah figure to his people. His mother gave him up, put him in a basket in the water, sent him downstream, and now he was ruling and reigning in a house that was a foreign house that he ended up taking over. Joseph, like all of them. Jesus too. Jesus was made the head of all principalities and all powers. All of them. All principalities and all powers. They are subservient to him. They answer to him. He says yes, he says no. Let them go. Go ahead, do what you're going to do. That is awesome. That is awesome. It was Tony says, it's God's forgiveness alone atonement. The thing is that forgiveness was made known through Christ. through the open display of him laying his life down and showing us how to do it, to give up his life for his brothers and sisters, for people he didn't know. You know, all these things that are going on at the schools and stuff like that, people are getting hurt. You know, you got people who are going in there hurting people that they don't know. Like, you don't even know them people. That's wild. Like, if you got an ought against somebody, like, at least take it out on them. Don't take it out on random people. So the atonement is Christ laying his life down for his friends, but also for people he didn't know. Well, he did know us. He knows us, right? So knows us intimately, knows us better than we know ourselves. That's for sure. But it's, the scripture says, without the shedding of blood, there is no remission of sins. Like the sins to be washed away, to be made whole. In the Jewish law, the dealing with animals, slaughtering animals to gods, that never appeased God's wrath or held back demons. It cleansed the person's conscience, and that's a big part of it, because your conscience is big. Your conscience is where you're condemned. There is now, therefore, no condemnation for those who are in Christ. Where are you condemned? In your conscience. The Holy Spirit speaks through a clear conscience. And the more that you go against your conscience, you sin against your own body, your own mind, and it is a sin. It is a sin because you're doing the thing that you know you're not supposed to do. And that does vary from person to person because you don't know. That's when the Bible says, Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do. Those are the levels of consciousness. That's levels of responsibility, because you can't do the things you used to do. No. Try to see how that works. No. Try to be an adult eating what you ate when you were 7. Try that. See how that works. Candies, sugar cereals. I mean, for dinner. Eat a sleeve. I got a buddy of mine. He got like IBS or whatever, some stuff going on with him. He's like, man, my stomach is always messed up, man. Pray for me, man. Pray for me. I said, all right, bro, I'll pray for you, man. I'll pray for you. Yeah, man. I said, you know, you can watch your diet, man. You need to watch what you eat, you know. Yeah, I try to, man. I try to eat salad. I ate a salad yesterday. I said, okay. I said, my stomach's messed up today, man. I said, well, what'd you eat? Well, I had a whole sleeve of Oreos, and we had leftover pizza, and I just took the cheese and meat off of the top of the pizza and ate the meat and cheese and ate a sleeve of Oreos. And that's what, I don't know why my stomach's hurting, man. I don't know why my stomach, man, listen, you can't eat what you ate when you were 7. There's no way. You can't go to your car and put something in there that's not supposed to go in there for the oil. You can't put sugar in the oil, sugar in the gas tank. Some of y'all got some sugar in your gas tank, and God's healing you right now. Y'all know I'm a comedian too. But that's it. There's levels. You can't do what you used to do. But it's different for everybody. Some people still can. Some people can. And that determines what is in you. You can preach the gospel, but you can also be racist. Okay, that's cool. Okay, I can't do it. I can't. He won't let me. You can preach the gospel, and you can steal. You can take money from the church. You can be a preacher and take from the church more that you told the staff that you were allotted because you feel like you deserve it. You do a lot for the church. I can't do that. I can't. You can. I can't. Right. So we all have different standards, and once you go against those standards, You sin against yourself. Whatsoever is not of faith is sin. The moment that you go against your own faith, your belief, your conscience, and if you keep doing it over and over, then you're given over to what's called a reprobate mind, that you would believe a lie. Oh, it's okay, because I deserve this money. Y'all don't know the hours I put in. No, what did y'all agree upon? What was your salary? What did they tell you? Well, you should have a talk with them and ask for more if that's the case, Pastor. No, see, they ain't gonna miss it. They spend this in frivolous ways. Can't do it, but some people can. But if you continue to do that and you're prideful, because the Holy Spirit is not, eventually is going to convict you. Eventually, at some point, you're going to hear your conscience say, hey, man, don't do that. You're not, you got to stop. And hopefully you can stop before it's too late. When the Spirit tells you to stop, then you got to stop. Your diet, same thing. Hey, don't eat that. I need you to fast. I need you to eat 1 meal a day. Why? Because your body's not working right. Your mind ain't working right. Your body's sick. Your body's processing food while you sleep, and it needs to be healing and recuperating. But you're eating right before you go to bed. Don't do that. Well, I can eat what I want because the Bible says I can eat what. Okay, what did God say? You put words in God's mouth. How fitting. How fitting. There's levels to it on the standards. It's order. There's a spiral. I woke up with the song. I actually had a dream about Maynard from Tool. He was in my dream. I love Tool. But I had a dream about him at a small concert. And when I woke up, like they were playing the song The Grudge. And the lyrics are about, it talks about spiraling. A lot of their music talks about spiraling, but the spiral goes up, it also goes down. A lot of the iconography, their pictures have spirals in it. Woke up with that song in my head. Like I almost told the little thing to play it. I love everything Maynard does, Nicole says. So the spiral, up, down, level, vibration. Level is the spectrums of the rainbow. There's levels, there's light. So I don't know how long I've been on here. Let me see on the computer how long. Probably too long. It's about time to go. 2 hours. That's what it says, probably more. Let me know before I go, because I'll stay. Let me know if anybody has any questions right before we get off of here, so I can work on the song. If not, I'll go ahead and jump off. Not too long for me, Nicole. Yeah, me. Listen, you guys are my friends, man. I like talking about this stuff. The more intentional your sin is, let me see. The more intentional your sin, the more distance you create from the Holy Spirit. Yep. Ryan says, let's get up this weekend and go live perform. Depends on where it's at, man. You know, most churches ain't finna have me, man. I am banned from most churches. So it's got to be a mystical church, Christian mystical church. Most churches ain't gonna have me. So it might be a nightclub, a park, and it can't be a Christian event. They're not gonna have me. So because of that, we're doing an online concert. He says at your house or go live. Actually, I have one. I've already got one planned. Next weekend, not this weekend, but next weekend. Come down next weekend. I'll let you open up, do a couple songs. Yeah, we can chill and rap. Yeah, so June 18th, we're doing a concert for, when I started Patreon back in 2016, I told myself I had to have goals that you make. I don't even know if those goals are still there, but one of the goals that I set was at 200 patrons, I would do a online concert for those who are on Patreon, where you can request the songs and hang out, and I'll do a live stream private. So that link will be there, and you can join at any level to get access. It's like buying a ticket or something. You can go to my Patreon to do that, and I'm gonna create an event. I share out some of the links and stuff. Like if I try to promote it or do a meme or something with it in it, Facebook knows if you're promoting, and they won't let nobody see it. So I've been kind of talking about it, but not many people know. So there's that. But that's going to be June 18th. Yeah, I don't do too much of that anymore, Ryan. Just going live to rap and just to have fun and play around. I don't do too much of that anymore. I'm serious now. We'll see. We'll do a concert, but I want it to be professional. It's got to be professional. Leanne says, pretty strange. Facebook will block your content, but let a bunch of scammers run ads. I know a couple people that's had their accounts hacked by Nigerian scammers. They're out there, man. They're getting good too. They try to send you like Cash App stuff. It's crazy. Brian Trejo, the Christian rapper, he had like, I don't know how many thousands, 50,000, 100,000, I don't know, just a huge platform. He lost it to a Nigerian scammer. That's why you need to do the two-factor login. Someone said, do you have to keep asking for forgiveness as a Christian to go to heaven? No. I think it's really a one and done. One and done. But I ask for, anytime that I sin against my conscience or I sin against Christ, I'm asking for forgiveness. It's weird, and I'll just be honest with you. Call it what you want. It's weird to me. That's why I prefaced it with that. But I'm starting to ask forgiveness to my team, like the team that y'all can't see. Like if I do something, I drop the ball. And I know it's all learning, and they know it's all learning. But there's things that we can't do anymore, like I said. And if we do those things, or we drop the ball, we mess up, we beat ourselves up. Even today, I found myself in prayer, like apologizing to them. And I say that to say that's a first. I say that to say that it's a first. I found myself talking to, because you got people on your team, like a basketball team. Like if you were supposed to take the last shot and you didn't, or if you took the last shot and missed it, even though that person says, "Oh man, I'm sorry, man, I missed that shot." God, in some situations, the New Orleans Saints, they had a kicker who they were in I think it was a Super Bowl, or was going to put them in the Super Bowl, and he missed the last field goal of like something he should have made, and because of the guilt from messing up, they sent they put him on suicide watch. Like they sent people home with him. He was like, it was a thing. He was on suicide watch because he let everybody down. He let not only did he let the team down, but he let the fans down. At least that's what he felt. The team, obviously, yeah, they're going to be mad, right? But they're going to forgive him. Listen, man, it happens. It happens. You know, or why you didn't have us up 7 points by it? Why y'all made me carry the, the load? So I found myself today asking forgiveness for the team, and I don't feel like it's like I'm judged or they're mad at me. They get it. They get it. But I don't want to. We beg so much. I say we. I don't want to project on you. I don't know what you beg for. I beg so much and have begged so much over the years for God to use me. And when He does, when the cards fall in your hand, when the ball is in your hand, you want that last shot. Prove yourself. You gotta make it. You gotta make it, and that's where I feel like we are. I am. I'm there. I live there. That's a level. So I just ask for them to forgive me. I ask my body to forgive me. Eating bad. I know God forgives me, but do y'all forgive me? Do my ancestors forgive me? Do the angels forgive me? Because they're like, once that portal opens, man, once you become privy, listen, it's a whole nother playing field. This ain't religion. Once the ball is in your hands, like, it's a lot riding on this. I've spent my whole life preparing for this. I'm not going to let anything take it from me but me. And I don't even want to do that. But you're the only one who can. So that's just something new for me. I don't even know if I need to. I don't know. I don't know. But it's only right. Because if I say I'm sorry, I'm listening for them to say, hey, man, you're good. We got you. Oh, there they are. Hey, okay. Because if it's your turn, why not shoot? If it's your turn, you've been asking for this and they picked you, don't squander it. That information, when we become a channel, man, and like, because it's a process, y'all. Integrity is the price. Integrity. That's what the Bible is about. Integrity is the cost to maintain it. Anybody can get there, but can you maintain it? That's when we were talking about these pastors falling. You can get there. You can become a pastor. You just go to school. Learn to be a good speaker, but can you maintain it? Can you maintain integrity? When the secretary who looks better than your wife, younger, slimmer, she comes up to you and she gets in your DMs. Can you maintain it? No, you try it. That's a test. Many people, internet personalities like myself, fall. That's the first sin they fall to. Next week you sin with another woman. Because I'm cognitive of that. No, not today, Satan, like somebody said. But if you do, yes, there's grace, there's restoration, there's all of that. But that's who I'm apologizing to. And apologize to the people you hurt, like if you hurt people. But most of this is in the mind, like you said, Sky. It's in the mind, it's in the heart. Don't nobody know that but you and God. The angels and the demons can see that, what's in your heart, what's in your mind, because that's the level you're vibrating at. They can see that vibration. Anyway. Trying to get to the end here. I got some Mormons trying to convert me, LOL. Mormons got some dope stuff, man. I wouldn't convert, but they got some good stuff. Everybody got some good stuff. That's what you got to know. You got to know that everybody has something. Everybody got something. And that's a level to know that. Most Christians, I'm condemned for even saying that, but most Christians we know will tell you that for you to even agree with them or call them brothers is heresy. So Ryan says, some of it's good, some of it's just not like I worship Jesus, not Joseph Smith, bro. Yeah. And they say, we don't worship Joseph Smith either. He was just a prophet. Well, I mean, you know, I speak highly of Emanuel Swedenborg. He don't trump Jesus. I speak highly of all types of people that I pay homage to and give their roses, and they influence, and I recognize them as being a channel for a certain place in my life, but they're not Jesus, they're not God. KT, do you see angels? Yes, I do see angels. Adam, integrity comes in all things that you do. You can have strong integrity, but some people will only see selective integrity. Yeah. Yep. Sucks. But it's part of it. You gotta sign up for you signed up for it, literally. Yeah, I don't know much about the Mormon stuff. I had a good friend of mine, Alonzo Pichardo, which was one of the earlier podcasts that I did with him called Mental Alchemy. Um, and he grew up Mormon, and it was so cool to talk to him and and see the similarities. And that's what changed me, man. That's what changed in my awakening. To see the similarities. And people, I still get condemned for it, but guess what? Jesus did too. You see the similarities between you and a Freemason, you and a Muslim. You and a Muslim. You would be like a Muslim because you're both devoid of God. I got friends tell me, and they're not friends. They're acquaintances. They're opportunists. There's some of those. And we all got those in our lives. Ryan says, I mean, in general, bro, you can disciple me. Well, the Holy Spirit's discipling you. I can share with you and teach you and be a friend and be a brother, but you got that regardless because we know each other. You got a friend in me. So we got that. It's all about love, bro. If those Jehovah's Witnesses are walking in love and you can feel it, next time they're talking to you, put your hand on your heart. Now, I'm not saying don't convert. You should be adamant. Be adamant to see if they still love you. And that's where we're tested. Because the love that we show, we don't see it back. And that's the hardest part. Because, a friendship, it should be two-sided. But at the moment they know that, okay, yeah, he's not going to budge, they're gone. Versus like, what is it worth? Like, what is my soul? I hate that we think in those terms. Like, what is my conversion worth to you? 3 days, an hour. Let me sit with you on one house call. Now let's do life together. Man, I know you remember that, Ryan, because that's where we come from. It was tainted, it wasn't perfect. But we were told discipleship is doing life together. We used to say something, get in my grits, man. Get in my stuff, man. We used to say that. And we used to be in that group. But a lot of it was, mouth talking. It wasn't real for everybody. It was real. It was just, there's always people only willing to go so far. until they write you off as, man, yeah, you went too far, dude, whatever. And now you're condemned in their book. It sucks because you still love them. Hate that. But KT says, I saw them too, but I want to know who is the one that wear the black cloak. They come in many shades, many colors, many cloaks. I've never seen one I've never seen them physically wearing a black cloak, but I've gotten some revelation and some downloads on some of them that were around with the black cloaks. If it's the same beings, I don't know. But I've never seen any like physically. So that's the difference between, I say many people and a lot of these movements out here that are, you know, they see them only in the mind's eye. Now I see them in the mind's eye too. You see them with the imagination. You see in between the worlds, but it's not physical. Swedenborg's was left eye. He saw him. I want to see it in the physical reality, and I have, but I haven't seen those beings. Now I've seen black mist, and a wisp, and those kind of beings that are angels because they carry messages. But you should know the angel, what kind of angel it is, by the vibrational frequency that it holds and the message that it brings. Literally, the same way you know a preacher, the message that it brings, and not just what it says. But spirits don't work that way. Spirits don't work that way, and Christians think they do, though. Christians think that the spirits come up to you and try to lie to you and stuff. That you don't know that it's evil. Hold on, like you should be able to know. I say you should. Maybe your discernment's not on, you know. So I guess that's how people fall. But you should. It's gonna make you levels and layers. Because they speak telepathically. I don't never have no conversation with them. They speak telepathically. Even when you see them, you know instantly. Boom. Nothing has to be said. You see them, oh, wow, epiphany. You see them, peace. It's like that when people saw Jesus. His aura, his vibrational frequency spoke for him. His reputation preceded him. Your conversation, your faith is in your auric field. That's how they know you. That's how they're attracted to you. They're looking around. Who can I use? Who can carry this message? Everybody's at, why is this the whole region third graders? You're not going to see no high school angels, 12th density angels, if everybody is in the third grade. It's not going to work that way. That's why many discernment ministries, and I did a post the other day just kind of joking, but being for real about, this isn't a discernment ministry. This isn't a demon behind every corner ministry. There's a reason you see demons behind every corner. Because you're on that vibrational frequency. To see demons, yeah. And if there ain't one there, you project one there. Because you're doing that too. You're creating it. You're calling something that's not you're calling it a demon. There's that. But if you're on a vibrational frequency to see demons, you should be seeing some type of higher being, right? Some type of angel. But that's new age. So we just We don't deal with the angels. We deal with demons. Come on. What the heck? What the heck? Ryan says, I have literally woke up in the middle of the night with a black shadow holding me and couldn't move and felt my soul leaving my body. When I woke up, I was transported so fast back to my body. It was hella scary. Yeah, they get access to you, obviously. So they get access to you according to the deeds that you do throughout the day. That's what a lying spirit is. A lying spirit is attracted to a liar. A gossip, a spirit of gossip, hang around. Crackheads hang around crack houses, right? You're a house. You're a house of spirits. Come on now. You are a house. You are a temple. KT says, I saw a black human shade too. Yeah, so I'll say we don't know what's going on, man. Like, it's hard. I never want to project a fear. I know people that have had these scary encounters, and they come and shout out to Prophet Vernal, sharing the story. But a little girl and her mom came to him for prayer because she kept seeing this woman in her room, and it was scary. It's like a cloaked or whatever in black or something, I don't know, but it scared the little kid. And every time she would scream or say, in the name of Jesus, it would go away, but it would always keep coming back. And she wanted to go to Prophet Vernal for prayer. So the mom and daughter come up and they tell him the story. And immediately in his spirit, he says, that's not a demon. That's an angel or a relative. Next time, don't tell it to leave. Ask it, what does it want? Ask it, who are you? And I guarantee you, the experience is going to change. You're gonna have a different manifestation. Maybe it'll stop, whatever. And the little kid did that, and he prayed, and those experiences stopped. And that happens so much that an angelic being comes to us, and because it doesn't look pleasing, it doesn't look like what we think it's supposed to look like. So you take authority over it and you speak to it and you cast it out and it's gone. And I'm talking about angels, higher beings that have to listen to you. They have to. The authority that is within you as a son and daughter of the King. You have authority to speak to those spirits. The Spirit of Christ is in you and they have to obey. So we're casting out angels, thinking they're demons. That's happening. So I don't want to say just because a black entity is in the room or a scary entity, like try to compose yourself long enough to say, like, hold on, step in. Hey, I know who I am. I'm protected. I haven't done anything to open myself up to possession. I haven't done anything unless I'm a threat and you're just trying to scare me, because that's all you can do. Because I'm not in hidden sin. If you're in hidden sin, you might need to be scared. You might need to be scared. And that's a message. But that's a message. Hey, get your stuff together. Because if not, we're coming. That's a message. From a demon or an angel. The word angel means messenger. And those demons carry messages. Get your stuff together or we're coming. So find out the message. If you can hold your composure long enough, but if they're trying to suck your energy and like have sex with you at night, like there's all kind of weird stuff going on in between the realms. So yes, what's your message? I want to have sex. Bind you in Jesus' name. Like, you know what I'm saying? Take authority. Put on some worship music. There's ways to cleanse your bloodline. Like stop looking at things you probably shouldn't be looking at, right? There's ways to close open doors because they can only come to you if they have access to you vibrationally. integrally what you're doing with your life. You open up yourself and they come to warn you. With that being said, as people are speaking to angels, thinking they're demons and casting them out and they're leaving, you're doing the other, especially in churches, some of these demon ministries. Got good friends who are into this stuff. You're casting out demons that you're not supposed to cast out. You're casting out demons you're not supposed to cast out. The demons are a symptom. The ailment, and it's a message. Oh, my car's making this, my car wobbles when I drive. You gotta put air, you gotta add air in the back driver's side tire. Once you air it up, the symptom of your wobbly car is straight, it's fixed. That's a symptom. Your body is sick. There's something that's out of alignment. So demons exist in that way. And the demons are on assignment from the Creator. Go ahead and turn it off. I know y'all, this is what my whole book is about. Trying to figure out the ones that are and the ones that aren't. So you got that. You got the ones you've opened yourself up to. You got the ones who are, there's many, but we need to see why they're there. The perfect analogy, fasting and prayer. Fast it out. Quit feeding it. Perfect analogy. I got a window right behind my head. Boom, window back there. I say it all the time. I'm going to keep saying it because I love it. You look at that window. If I open that window and throw food out, scraps, tonight, when the sun goes down, there's going to be a gathering. There's going to be a meeting outside my window tonight. Maybe right now, as soon as you do it. Some show up immediately. What are you feeding? What are you serving at your table? What are you feeding? Because there's certain things you can throw out there and it's going to attract certain animals, insects. And every night, you keep throwing that food out, they're going to, more and more, they'll follow others back. A raccoon's going to follow it. Listen, we feed birds. We have beautiful birds in the backyard. And it's cool to see them come. Then it's cool to see them have babies and the babies come because now they're multiplying like gremlins. No, it was just one, now there's 17. But the other bird, they'll sing. They'll see us throw seed out and then they'll start singing. And all the birds come. This is for seed. Your deeds are seeds. Your actions, your thoughts. Think a thought, sow a seed. Reap a destiny. On a seed, what are you planting? What are you watering? What are you giving attention to? All this. Stop. So we've been on vacation. We ain't been throwing out no seed. I seen a couple back there, but guess what? They had to go get something to eat. We weren't here for a couple of days. We were gone. They were fasting. A place they showed up to get food every day. There's no food here. There's no food. What do we do? That's all we know. Come back tomorrow. Where they're at? Where's the humans? No food, no food, no food. We come home. I see one bird, two birds out there. But my daily visitors, my daily friends aren't there. They'll be back this evening. I'll go out there, throw some seed out. Me and my wife will hang out. Piece of our garden. Same thing with the analogy. I like the window nighttime analogy because nighttime is dealing with the beings that come at night, the beings who see in the darkness. Listen, I got night vision goggles. I told y'all about a little rat I seen under my, we got a big field and a big ditch behind the house, but pulled the lawnmower out and this rat went, he ran. Oh, you little rat hiding up under there. I pulled my night vision goggles out the other day and I'm stargazing and you can see in the dark, nocturnal. And I'm looking And I see on the fence, there's like a rat on the fence, like on the fence. Oh, the rats from the field. They on the fence. There's one of them. It's like, that's not a squirrel. He ain't got no tail. The Joker, I seen a little shadow by the fence post. It was on the fence post. So what's that moving? You know, so I'm gonna go run. I said, oh, rats, because we don't see rats during the day. I don't. But obviously they're in places of darkness that are hiding until light hits it or until you cut their food source off. So now you're casting out demons. I'm for you. Peace, healing. That's going to, the worst thing that you can do is cast out a demon that person ain't ready to clean house. It's the worst thing you can do. Worst thing you can do. Going out here casting out demons and people falling out and catching the Holy Spirit and feeling good, and it's the worst thing. That woman's still a homosexual, man. That woman's still gay. You try to cast out a gay demon out of her, having her living a life that she's not, and then you get mad when she comes out as she's still gay 6 months later. And then you turn on her. Then you turn on her. Going here casting out demons that people ain't ready to cast out. It's the Bible says don't do it. Don't do it. Because 7 more stronger are coming. They go and get 7 stronger demons. Don't be going out here just casting out demons off of random people. Make sure you're willing to do the work. That demon is there for a reason. It found a home in you. You made a room for it. You got to clear it out. You got to replace whatever it was eating with why it's there to begin with. You got to. That's wisdom. They don't want to talk about that in church because we want a quick fix. Guess what quick fix is? Animal nature, instant gratification. We in this one for the long haul. You might be fighting a demon. Listen, ain't no demon gonna take away, or one prayer gonna take away 7 generations worth of alcoholism from the man of God who lays hands on you. Because when you wake up and you get tempted at 3 a.m, or you can't sleep, and you see, you know what, a shot of whiskey used to put me to sleep, and that demon comes back. You got to be ready to fight. You got to be ready to say no, and not everybody's ready for you to be out here casting out homosexual spirits off of people, or whatever spirits you're saying that are on people. They're better off with it. Might be better off with it. Am I wearing black obsidian? No, this is garnet. It's my my birthstone. I have garnet necklace, garnet bracelets, and some garnet stones. It's my birthstone. Hey, how goes it? Hello.
Hey, bro, can you hear me?
Yeah, what's happening?
Oh, I'm sorry, dude. I'm just needing some guidance and counseling. I found you a couple months back, and I didn't realize that I was gonna be put on live with you on audio. But my bad, bro. I good, and Father's great, and everything you're saying now is just whoo. You know, there are no coincidences. Like, I hear you, Father. You've already through you, Father has already reached me through your words and your guidance several times, and I'm kind of dealing with, you know, when you try to do better and you're actually getting closer to Jesus, it gets harder, you know, and that kind of shows you that you're on the right path, but a double-edged sword, you know, it doesn't take away the hardness, but devil's working, man. There's a lot of evil right now, just all over, and it's getting crazy, bro. And I know, I realize that, but you know, to walk the path and to experience it, you know, are 2 totally different things. Um, But I'm sorry, dude. I hope I'm not interrupting your
No, bro, I brought you in, man. It said that you were requesting to come in, so I brought you in. No, but you're right, dude. I mean, that is a difference of, my thought has changed over the years of what the baptism of fire represents. Jesus says, I come to baptize you with the Holy Spirit. It says John comes to baptize you with water, but I come to baptize with the Holy Spirit and with fire. Me being a Pentecostal, the Pentecostal background, that fire is like that ecstatic bliss because it's hot and it's fervent heat and it's beautiful, but it's burning out impurities in you, but there's layers to it, so
yes.
it gets turned up, because listen, we're not dealing with certain things. Now we're dealing with some deep rooted issues. It's easy to deal with
Yeah.
something that's that the roots don't go deep. They're just weeds. You can go pull weeds up with your hand in your yard. You can't pull a tree up by hand. You got to uproot that thing. You can't just cut it. You can't just prune it. It's still a tree. You got to uproot it. So that's what the baptism does. It exposes some of the things within us that are not good. They're character
Yeah.
defects and character flaws, but it's a good thing. And yeah, it does get hard. But God is the author and finisher. He knows it all, bro. And like, there's nothing that happens that he doesn't know that he's going to use it for good. I believe that 1,000%,
Yeah.
man. That everything is going to be used for good. When everything goes back into the game board and we put all the pieces back up and we close the book and we're in eternity, whatever that looks like, I think that we'll be glad that we went through that, you know.
Yeah, thank you, brother. It just, it hit me real hard because I realized that at a younger age, I realized that, if you have a guardian angel for every action, there's a reaction. Then later on, I got to realize that if you have a guardian angel, he's there to guard you from the tormentor, because you got a guardian demon, so to speak, a
Hmm.
guardian tormentor that's going to try to make you fall at every turn. Um, do you mind if I kind of share with you a little bit?
Sure.
Um, I saw him in kind of opened the door at a younger age. I had a couple of visions in my sleep. I saw the 3 days of darkness, the red sky. I was given some messages, and that was kind of my beginning of realizing that there was a lot more to all of this than we've been told or taught. And at some point on my journey for seeking the truth, I knew that I wanted to be a warrior for God. I knew that I already was, and I just had to find myself and find my way to be good enough for him. To be one of my teachers. She taught me a lot at the time. I was really holy woman. She's a real holy woman, and she found me and could instantly see that I had affliction. So she was able to kind of help me understand my astral projecting a little bit, and taught me a lot. Taught me. I mean, I consider her my holy mother. She's my friend. She's my mother. She's a lot to me. She's really close and dear. She's actually a medicine woman, and in our culture, I'm of Hispanic heritage, so we got a lot of juju in our
Curandero.
yeah, curandero. Exactly, brother, exactly. And
Have you
so
heard
I,
my song? What Have you heard my song White Magic?
nuh-uh. No, you
Oh
know what? I've
yeah.
actually just been looking up some of your music, so yeah, I'm gonna have
Okay.
to
Check
White
check
Magic.
that
I'm
one
gonna have
out.
to remember that one. Okay,
Go
brother.
ahead though.
Thank you. No, no, I'm sorry, brother. I don't mean to interrupt you.
No, I interrupted you. You're
Uh,
good.
I actually ended up seeing my guardian demon, and I won't bother to give him very much attention. It's going through a lot of problems, and I saw it. And when I saw him, dude, like, I'm sure you experienced it, at a younger age. Like, you're told these kind of things, and you believe them and stuff, but then when you actually see it, it's like, oh man, this got a lot more real than I was expecting.
Come on, man.
So, I kind of almost lost my mind, bro. Honestly, because when it happened, I saw him. I knew everything that I'd always been told was real. Everything was real. And my children's mother actually kind of experienced it too. But she didn't want none. She's just, it's too much for her, and she didn't want to deal with it because she had a lot of scary things happen in her life. So that was my beginning, bro. And things have just gotten more weird and more crazy. but I'm aware that I have an affliction you're just talking about. I know I have a demon on me and it's working on all my weaknesses. And I've just been trying to figure out and tried to find a way to, what you were just saying, bro, to expel this thing, to get rid of it. But I just didn't know where to start. I don't, I mean, other than being close to the Holy Spirit as I can be, that oil, I know that oil will repel that water. Oil and water can't mix. Yeah. So I've just been looking in that way, bro. I've just been trying to look for the signs. I love the way you talk about the signs out there, the language, the mystery of interpretation. And it's something that I've been pursuing, and Father is definitely granting me wisdom. I really admired King Solomon as a young age for asking for wisdom, and I thought it was really neat that a man was able to surprise our Creator. Maybe not surprise him, but the story of that I always admired, so I always pursued wisdom. And now just I saw you go live earlier, and I thought, oh man, I'm gonna have to watch that. I mean, that's kind of crazy right now, so I want to make sure that I'm in the right mind and the right spirit to be able to receive your message that you're putting out, because I know it's coming directly from our Father. And I saw you were still live, so I started watching you, and you hear what you were talking about. I was like, okay, I hear you, Father. I definitely need to hear what your son has to say.
So I guess it's a double-edged sword. Everything is, right? Like, you don't want to pray away the demons that are here to teach you, right? Just say it's like a math teacher that's hard on you. Like, man, I got to pass so-and-so's test. But they, we used to go home when we'd fail or get in trouble and say, Mama, they don't like me. They picking on me. They don't like you. And we try to make it personal. Hold on, it's not personal. Like, this is what I represent. My math class is that, and kids pass and fail every day. And why should you be any different? So with the guardians, right? A guardian angel, and you say guardian demon, a guardian is going to be the polarity. So just like I mentioned, the Bible talks about the highway of holiness, and it's the narrow path, right? Too far to the right, too far to the left, you're in a ditch. You're in a ditch. Yeah. So it's about, but on side of the highway of the path is a guardrail. So just this idea of the guardian angels being almost to keep you on that path as a guardrail to help you. You don't want to get too righteous. You don't want to get too Messiah complex. You don't want to get too holy. Now you're not a regular person. Now you can't go and have a dinner with your friends who aren't Christian. You know what I'm saying? Because you're too holy. So there's a balance in the midst of all that. So with the idea of not wanting to cast out demons that are there to teach a lesson and to impart something, I don't want to, push the idea that we want to keep demons that are here to harm us. So obviously, we can always pray, but you gotta tie in close with the Father, and make and let that prayer be every prayer, every petition, because it's an inner knowing that you don't even have to really say anymore. You can say it, but like whatever's here to serve me. Like if this is for my greater good, come whatever may. Like I'm open for them. I don't care what they look like, care what they smell like. If there's angels, demons, beings, aliens, I don't care who the ancestors. Listen, if an ancestor is of the light and has got a message that they have to go through Christ with that prayer and with that vibrational frequency of integrity, they can't get too close to you if they're of the darkness. Something else can. So I would say get so close to God, right, that because when we have to remember. Remembering is big. We forgot. We fell into forgetfulness. Remembering means we were there at one point, but now we're not. Or we were in alignment, and now we know how it feels to be out of alignment. Like I can tell you, being there, I'm sure you can too, of like synchronicities, God is speaking, everything works. And then I consciously sin against my conscience and do something that I know I'm not supposed to. In the moment I do that, God takes his hand off of me as far as like the power, the authority, the bliss, the cool stuff that's happening because I knew better and I did it anyway. That's sin. That's like the only thing sin is. You know better and you did it anyway. If you didn't know no better, it's not a sin. But once you have a knowledge of that, so stepping into that, you know how it feels to be out of alignment. So get in alignment. Remember what alignment is. I think that's anytime you feel bliss and peace. Listen, my world could be going to hell in a handbasket. It could be whatever, you name it, the worst things I can fathom and think of. They exist in a realm somewhere in my imagination. We don't want them to be reality, but we're passing through veils of that. God's presence, bliss, and his love immediately makes everything okay. It's the only thing that's real to me. It is the only the only constant, the only thing that's eternal. So you can sit in that for a moment, in a prayer, in an adoration, in a moment of gratitude. Find something to be thankful for, the breath, your heartbeat. Those are the things I go to. Family, whatever it is that you have, and immediately everything's okay. So whatever that feels like, I think that, and I hope I'm not projecting. I know some people resonate with this. I hope you do, and if you don't, you can. Get in that moment of bliss. For me, it's putting on worship music, meditation. It's like an out-of-body experience. I'm not here anymore. Like I'm the real me that is seated with Christ in heavenly places. I'm more in tune with that than I'm in tune with anything here. Like in a moment, in an instant of switching my attention and focus, and that's peace and that's bliss. So I want to bring that person into the now moment, into my reality. So sit in that, what that feels like. Listen, all dreams are fulfilled. I'm healed. I'm not sick anymore. There's no strife, and my children love me. My mom is okay. Nobody died in vain. Listen, this place we're in heaven, because that is heaven, and you become a channel for that heaven to bring it into the now moment. Feel what that is, and it's not God tempting you where that seems so far away. Maybe the full picture seems far away, but you can bring something into the now moment. Bliss, peace, my mind. I speak to my mind right now to line up with the word of God. My fears right now, no demon, no devil. Speak to those things. There's power when we speak. And that's what I do. And I can only tell you what I do and what works for me. So
yeah,
the life that you want to create, what you want to bring into your reality, see it, speak it. See it, speak it.
Thank
Hope
you,
that
bro.
helps,
Thank
man.
you so
Just
much, man.
sit in
No,
this
it does.
presence. Well,
Thank you so
before
much.
we jump off of here, let me pray for you right quick. How do you pronounce your name, man?
Esteban.
Esteban. Great. Let me pray for you right quick before we jump off here.
Thank you.
Father, I
bro.
thank you right now for Esteban and his calling and his high calling, and the fact that he's awake and he's aware. He's not walking aimlessly and trying to figure things out. He knows that there's a battle going on. He can see. He has seen in the past, Father. I just ask you to give him that perfect love, that perfect peace right now that casts out all fear, all doubt, all insecurity, all worrying, creating these endless scenarios on loop, which is hell. I bind it right now. We remove it in Jesus' mighty name. God, we just send forth peace to Esteban, that no matter what he's going through, God, you brought him to it. You'll bring him through it unharmed. He's walking through the fire unharmed because he's not by himself. There's one who is likened unto the Son of Man walking with him, God. I pray that you'll be able to feel the presence of Christ, feel that beautiful fire, knowing that he's not alone. Not even the clothes that he's wearing is going to be singed or burnt, but every hair on his head be protected as he walks through. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. I'm walking through, I'm passing through, I'm not camping here. God, I bless him with that. Peace, peace, peace. In Jesus' mighty name, God, give him some peace in his spirit. Restlessness to be gone, because that's not a fruit of God. restlessness to be gone, to be able to have a sound night's sleep in Jesus' mighty name. Jesus' mighty name. Sound mind, power, love, and a sound mind in Jesus' name. God, we thank you that you're waking up a mighty warrior, stepping into the truth of who he really is. God, let everything that he touches, his family, his friends, people just being in proximity of him, be blessed because they know him. I pray this in Jesus' mighty name. Amen.
Amen, brother.
Amen.
Thank you. Thank you so
Love you,
much.
man. It was good to connect with you, brother.
God bless you too, brother. I love you too, man. And I'll be continuing to follow you. Thank you for
Yes, sir. Don't be a stranger, brother. Shalom.
Shalom, brother.
Amen.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Amen. Good to connect with you, man. Good to connect. I know I've been on here long. Listen, y'all, I'm going to do an 8-hour marathon one day. We're just going to go maybe 24 hours. Good brother. And if whoever felt that, man, if you need that bliss, man, just receive it. Just receive it. It's that easy. Really is that easy. What doesn't serve you must go. The vibrational frequency of Christ, which is love. The attitude of gratitude, which is love. Know that it's yours and it's as close as your next breath. So that's what we'll do together. For those of you who need it in your body, in your heart, in your mind, listen, this is how simple it's got to be. We're going to take a breath, but it's going to be a breath of intention. Your breath is going to be conscious. It's going to be a breath of, again, of thanksgiving, of gratitude. Because what is there where there is no breath? That's death. You got something to be thankful for. You got breath. So our next breath that we breathe together consciously, it's just a simple thank you. That's all it is. Shift your situation from being a beggar to being an heir, from being broken to being beautiful in the midst of a breath, because that's how close he is in the moment. All of that exists within the breath, the life. Improper breathing, Holy Spirit, inspiration, respiration in Jesus' name. Whatever you need, God knows that I don't. Whatever you need in your heart, in your mind, in your body, just some little bit of peace, a little jolt, a reminder to remember of how much you're loved. I received that. I received that. So we'll do a 3-part breathing. We'll take a deep breath in, not yet. We'll take a deep breath in through the nostrils. And at the peak of that breath, inwardly, if you want to say it out loud, we'll breathe in really deep. And then at the peak of the breath, we're just going to say thank you. Thank you, Father, for the breath. Thank you that there's air and opportunity and you haven't given up on me. Thank you. Like, again, we talk about gratitude. Have you ever been given up on? Has anybody ever gave up on you? Well, know that God hasn't. And that's gratitude. God, thank you. Because I know what it feels to have everybody around you give up on you. I know what it feels like. He does too. Jesus did too. In this dire moment, when he needed them the most, they were gone. Where's everybody? We don't know him. We don't know him. Come on, man. He knows he's moved by your infirmities. Tempted on every side. Still responded with love. He's going to teach us how to do it too. Gratitude. We'll breathe in at the peak of the breath. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Breathe in through the nose. Thank you. The third part is just to release it out of your mouth. And it's just a moment of gratitude, focused breath. You guys ready? Intention, peace, peace, peace. This is how close he is. And some of you better feel the Holy Spirit when you breathe in. You'll get chills. You'll get tingles. At the peak of the breath, when you say thank you, you'll feel them. You'll feel them. Some of you have to do it a couple times. You'll feel them. But you'll get used to that. No matter where you go, you can do that breath. Move to gratitude, shift to gratitude, and you feel his presence. That's what we're talking about. 3, 2, 1, let's breathe in really deep. Thank you, Father. Thank you for the breath. Just say thank you, and then just release. Peace, peace, peace in Jesus' mighty name. releasing any of the breath, any of the air, the mindsets that do not serve you to be gone, gone, gone. Any of that spirit stuff that's hanging around that's not for your greater good to be gone. All of it right now. To receive in peace, prosperity, healing, blessings in Jesus' mighty name. Listen, you're blessed simply because you know him. And you know him because he knows you. That's who you are. A son, a daughter. You receive the inheritance of the firstborn. Christ was the firstborn among many brethren. The firstborns receive the inheritance. And you're the firstborn among many brethren as well in Christ. You receive all that God has for you, man. Not leaving any of it on the table. Going back to the enemy's camp, taking back what he stole from you. Taking back the peace, the joy, the years that the cankerworm and the caterpillar's taken away. Listen, you're going to get it back. It'll all be worth it. One more breath, guys. 3, 2, 1, breathe in. Thank you, Father. Release. Amen and amen, man. Thank you guys for hanging out with me as long as y'all did, and thank you for the stars and everybody sharing and all that cool stuff. We meet Thursday nights and Sunday mornings for those of you who are looking for community, small group. It's not a lot of people, but we try to just have communion, conversation, roll ideas off of one another. Sometimes I'll just go and teach, and what the Spirit has, that's usually right on. But listen, it's just good to have people in your corner that you can roll ideas off of. A lot of y'all out there got angels and beings in your corner and all this kind of stuff. Listen, you need some humans in your corner too, man. Come on. Come on. I know what it's like. Know what it's like. I had a lyric years ago. Excommunicated. Now my only friends are spirits who speak to me when I'm lonely and understand the way that I'm feeling. It's easy to be separated. That's what Satan tried to do to Peter. Get him off by himself, because we can get him when he's away from the herd, when he's away from the other sheep. Whisper, get him off the path. Make him think that he's different. Make him think that it's something wrong with him. Get him away from everybody. Listen, we got to come together, guys. We ain't got to have it all figured out, because I don't. Keep scrolling if you're looking for somebody who does. Keep scrolling. I'm not that guy by any means. I don't claim to be. But and those are the people I need in my corner. And I got them. Adam, I see you, brother. Adam's in my corner. Love you, man. Somebody asked me yesterday who used to be kind of like in our group and stuff, and back in 2017 or so, how many of the OGs are around that have been, in this movement and just been a friend and just been showing up, and you could be a friend and not show up. Maybe you're an acquaintance or, friend from a distance, but Adam's been there. Adam he ain't broke out of shell yet. It's coming, yo. It's coming. Y'all wait. When Adam taps in, gets over that one thing, whatever that thing is, when it's revealed, he's in the seeking process, he's in the searching process, but which we all are. But when the Father shines that light on it, and when the Father says go, he's gonna be ready. So y'all be watching. Y'all add Adam Starseed Bay. He's a really good guy. He's my friend. Glad to be his friend. I love him. And he's been one who's been in my corner for a long time. And that's very few people, but I'm blessed to call him friend. So you need people like that in your life. Love you guys. Hang out with us. Adam Starseed usually hangs out with us, so you can say hey to him too. Ryan Rose is one, right? There's not many. Not many. You know who you are. You know who you are. Shalom, everybody. Many blessings. Love y'all. We'll do it again. Peace.